another reason to breathe this air. And now we made for ourselves. This won't be the last time. I've never in my life ever seen the sky light up like this. I'm far away from Earth and I wanna know if you exist. Mission control, do you read me? Send me my coordinates lately. Mission control, am I drifting? Tie me to someone who will love me, yeah. I know it when I make you. I'm not the only one who's alone. Find me soon and take me home. I know it when I saw you. I'm not the only one hanging on. Tie me to someone who will love me. Oh, never in my life did I want to see you more than this. And every time you're lost, I wonder if you know you're missed. I'm breathing when I can, and I only hope you're watching this. I hope you know that I exist. Mission control, do you read me? Send me my coordinates lately. Mission control, am I drifting? Tie me to someone who will love me. Yeah, I know it when I make you. I'm not the only one who's alone. Find me soon and take me home. I know it when I saw you. I'm not the only one hanging on. Tie me to someone who will love me. Somebody to pick me up. Somebody to find my love. Somebody to pick me up. Ooh, somebody to pick me up. Somebody to find my love. Somebody to pick me up. Ooh.
It's the Morning Invasion with Dex and Steve-O.
I suppose we should get going.
Let's go.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 0.
All right. Good morning. Welcome to Thursday. Hello, everybody. Live from the Dream Style Remodeling Star 88 Studios.
Yo, dog.
You guys ready for a big morning? Big day? It's Thursday. Everybody loves Thursday. We got Brian Nixon coming up at 7. We think we have Shock Therapy Live, although we're not 100% sure yet. Should be a good show, man. There's a lot going on. I'd like to kick off the show with some pretty cool news. If you haven't heard yet, the greatest mixed martial artist of all time, the champ, Jon Bones Jones, is clear.
This is big news, Albuquerque.
Comeback season begins now. Now. Jon Jones cleared for UFC return after doping ruling. That's right, USADA. USADA just took their sweet little time.
They did, didn't they?
Yeah, and
But because of that, his suspension is just about up.
yeah, that's right, everybody. That's right. Now everybody was like, okay, well, that means he could be back before 2019.
Yeah, October.
But then the president of the UFC said, hold it. Just stop it right there. No, that's not likely. Probably in 2019, we'll see Jon Jones. So we'll see what happens. I hope it's this year. That'd be pretty cool. But, you know, either way, he's back, and I hope he stays clean, and I hope he just whoops up on everybody, because there's nobody's going to beat him. Nobody's going to beat him. It's a different caliber of fighter. There's nobody out there that can beat Jon Jones. I'm sorry. Not going to happen. You think that DC could beat him? There's no way DC would ever beat him. DC retired, right?
Stipe. No.
Did he retire officially?
No.
He didn't retire.
No,
Okay,
he's
good.
a 2-belt champ. Are you kidding me? He's going to have like 2 more big fights.
Good.
I think he needs to fight Jon Jones. I really do.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, Jon Jones has to get his belt back for sure.
Yeah.
And that'll be an easy one. That's like a warm-up fight. Come on.
You say that. I think it's going to be a good one.
Okay. we'll
Everybody
see.
said that about Stipe just taking down DC, and DC caught him. Like, it wasn't in a boring, like, put all my weight on you and lay on you way.
Yeah.
Like, he caught him.
Well, we'll see, man. Maybe you're right. I don't know. Maybe he is. Maybe
I'm
he's
not
different.
saying he's going to beat John Bones Jones.
Okay.
I'm
Pretty
the
sure
one
that's what
that
you're
still
saying.
has a glove hanging in my house, signed by the champ, Jon Jones. I love him.
That's cool.
I want him to come back and prove
Right?
himself.
You know, he lives in Albuquerque.
He's our boy, Blue.
You know, I've had the chance to hang out with that guy a few times. He's a super nice guy. I know he's been mad at me a few times too, and even said he wouldn't be on my radio show anymore. But you know what? It's cool. That's why he won't ever come on our show, by the way. I actually took footage of him outside of Jackson's one afternoon and threatened to send it to TMZ.
Okay, stop it.
This is a real story. I talked him on the phone, and I told it's when he had his Bentley before he crashed it. And I asked him, I said, hey, can I borrow your Bentley for the night? I want to.
Gosh, this is why he'll never come on our
This
show.
is why. And I had footage of him doing something outside of Jackson's that I said, I'll send it to TMZ if you don't give me your Bentley for the night. And he laughed at me. So guess what? I sent it to TMZ. Okay, I didn't send it to TMZ. That's a lie. I didn't.
Now we're never going to get him on.
Yeah, we'll never get him on.
Why? We need to get him on.
You know what we have to
We
do?
need to get him in studio like
well,
now.
we have our YouTube show coming up with the dry sauna, the traveling dry sauna. We'll just park it out in front of his house.
Perfect.
And then he'll be like, "Ooh,
Perfect.
dry sauna, cool."
Yeah.
And then when he opens it up, there we are.
There we are. Hey, man, come on in. We got you what that was.
That's good.
He's
Anyways.
got to be on that.
Oh yeah, he's on my list, my dream list of people to have in there.
Why is it a dream list? Ricky's like your best friend.
Yeah, but Ricky is responsible for why Jon Jones will never be on. Yeah, you need to take responsibility too, Ricky. It's your fault.
Wow. Okay.
Just saying.
Comfortable.
Yeah,
It's happening.
it's happening. Jon Jones is back, everybody. He's cleared to make a return to the octagon. Maybe this year, maybe not. Maybe next year, but we're excited for that. It'd be
Yeah.
really cool. You know what else we got to get on the show is Diego Sanchez.
Mm-hmm.
We got to shoot for Holly Holm.
Okay.
Okay, those are the fighters. That's my dream list of fighters. We got to get my friend Tate Fletcher, who owns Caveman Coffee and is
Perfect.
one of the best stunt actors out there. Who else we got to get?
Chuck Norris.
Oh yeah, got my scientist friend Jessica Bender. She's going to be on the show. She confirmed. Going to be on the YouTube show.
Wow.
She's she used to be one of the best female freestyle bikers. I don't know.
BMX?
Not BMX. It was like ninja bikes.
Motocross.
No, ninja
Oh.
bikes. Like she would do like the whole dancing with the bikes, you know? I don't know. What do you call that?
Dancing with
Yeah,
the bikes.
She would be on a ninja and she'd be doing wheelies and jumps and she'd be doing like 360s and I don't know what you call that. It's freestyle
Bike dancing.
bike dancing. Yes, I think that's
It's
what
much
it
like
is.
breakdancing
Yes,
because you inevitably will break something.
exactly. No, I think she was at the time. I think she was the best female. But then she got pregnant. She got married, and now she's a mom, a wife, and she's a scientist. So she can talk science with us. It'll be a lot of
Okay.
fun.
Not everyone's happy about the return of Jon Jones. by the way.
Really?
Yeah.
What? Who said?
I don't know. Member of this army.
Why wouldn't she be happy for him?
I can't believe how everyone just washes over all the bad things that he's done and
Oh,
gets
wow.
excited for his return. He is not a good person.
Wow.
You know, this is interesting because we're having a pastor on our show in October, and it's kind of I've gotten hit up by multiple people over this interview with a pastor. And so it is one of those things on when is the right time? When do we restore? When is there grace and forgiveness? I'm pretty sure God loves unconditionally, but, you know, we're humans, so we love to put conditions on things. So if you A, B, C, and D, then you will be restored
Yeah.
type thing. And I'm excited to talk to him about it because it's still 50-50 as far as people enjoying him back in the pulpit and people.
You mean Mark Driscoll?
Oh yeah, talking about Mark Driscoll, guys.
Yeah.
It's gonna be on the show.
Yeah,
in October.
we've had friends that are like, don't interview that guy.
Oh, multiple friends passionately telling us, do not interview him.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, well, we are.
Yeah.
So, by
Yeah,
the
that
way,
should
the
be
bike
interesting.
thing's called stunting.
It's just stunting? That's what it's
I
called?
guess.
Stunting? Okay.
Yeah.
Britt, what do you know, Britt? Do you know? Come on. Love you, Britt.
That's funny. Britt said it too. No, I was looking on the live line. A couple people said it. So,
I guess maybe it is. Maybe you're right.
guess so.
Isn't it? Yeah. That's so crazy to me when people put
Well,
conditions.
But I want to know because
There's no grace. Why no grace?
when do we set limitations? Because the big one, obviously, right now in our culture, the Harvey Weinsteins and the Kevin Spaceys of the world.
Right.
Right? So do we ever say, no, it's cool? I mean, it's not cool. What you did was not cool, but I forgive you and I hope you are turning your life around.
Right.
So how do we, as Christians, like, man, right?
Right. It's that whole fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me. You know, that's kind of the mentality of the whole thing.
I'm excited to interview him. So Thebe said, man, interview him. Solid guy. It's booked, guys. It's booked. He's got a new book coming out. We actually got an early advanced copy of it. And it's essentially about the Holy Spirit and the Holy Spirit's role in our lives. Spirit-filled Jesus is what it's called. And it's going to be very interesting because if we are truly filled with the Holy Spirit, shouldn't we have that love and that grace and that mercy and that
Right.
compassion?
And think about how many times we mess
Also
up.
wisdom.
Think about how many times we mess up.
Yeah.
It doesn't, we all sin every single day.
Yeah.
Nobody goes a day without sinning. And that's what's so crazy about it is we are so quick to throw judgment on people.
But so quick to plead forgiveness and grace and mercy when we mess up.
Yeah, because here's the thing with Jon Jones. He was cleared, okay? He was cleared. So they found out through an investigation that the protein that he was using was tainted with a steroid. Because a lot of times in these factories, in the bins, they don't wash them right. They don't clean them properly. So the powder they'll put in another batch or something, and then whatever they were cooking in the batch before that had some type of steroid that I could take that you could buy over the counter. Because there's like steroid type of, stuff you can buy at like GNC that UFC fighters can't. Like there's just things on a list of things you can and can't for UFC fighters, like that is legal that you can buy at the store. So you get this vat of protein that was tainted from a previous batch, and that's what the investigation proved, is that he took protein that had something in it that wasn't supposed to be in it.
Yeah.
So he was cleared of that. So he was trying to get back on track, and then that happened.
Somebody says we forgive or we show grace, mercy, whatever. We do it when they turn their lives around, when they make an effort to stop being a piece of garbage. I don't know how I feel about that.
Do you know
though.
him personally?
Me?
No, this person.
Well, I don't know.
That's the thing. Do you
well,
know
but,
him,
I
or are
mean,
you just reading this stuff online?
That'd be my curiosity, because we proclaim this gospel where people come in broken, whose lives are destroyed, or who have nothing together. And Jesus is like, come as you are, and then he will clean you up over time. But if we waited to like allow people in, when they got their crap together, like we'd all be outside the door like, can I come in now?
Right.
Like that's not a thing. So I don't know. I hear, but again, this is why it's such a big conversation, because we're human beings. We're very limited in our understanding of love and grace and mercy and compassion. Unconditional love, zero conditions with your love. Could you imagine that? What that looks like?
Right.
Because God loves us unconditionally. So think about that. Well, we can say that and it sounds great and fluffy, but none conditions, zero conditions, because we're already placing conditions. Well, when Jon Jones does this, then, or when, Mark Driscoll goes back and to every single congregant at Mars Hill or whatever, you know what I mean? Then we can forgive. Or when Harvey Weinstein, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, L, M, N, then.
Right. It is the beautiful thing about the gospel, and is that we come as we are. We are rotten. Like God looks at us and says, "Hey, none are good." Like
Right.
we're all sinners, and that's the beautiful thing about the gospel is we come to the cross, and Jesus is like, "Hey, I love you."
But that's why it's a good conversation. I think it should convict and it should remind us, like, okay, what conditions have I placed?
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, we're talking about love, and yet still there is repentance that needs to happen. You know, so there are things that need to happen. However, like Britt's saying, people forget what they've been forgiven for.
Right.
Pat says he told the criminal on the cross,
I
today
just was gonna
you will
say
be
that.
with me in paradise.
That's what I was just gonna say. I was gonna say I always think of the thief on the cross. You know,
Yeah, he didn't have time to get baptized.
Yeah.
He didn't have time to
Yeah.
go through
He
any
just said, "Jesus, don't forget me." And
steps
he's like, "Dude,
of- yeah.
you'll be with me in paradise. Come
Yeah.
with me, bro. I got you." There wasn't anything that thief had to do. You know, he didn't have to work to get to heaven. He just had to accept it. He just had to cry out to God, "Hey, don't forget me."
Don't get me wrong. I'm preaching and proclaiming this right now and asking why. And yet, if Brody came home today from school and a child, a 5-year-old child, mocked or did something or hurt his feelings or he was bullied, I would immediately grab my spear and go find said child.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like we can say it all day long, but
Right.
we're humans, so we're gonna throw conditions down.
Exactly.
Like, period, the end. We want justice. Like, it's this weird, oh, man. Yep.
Yeah, we're so quick to when we see a headline or we hear a rumor from somebody and they just go, "Ugh, oh my gosh, I can't believe that's, gross. I can't believe they would do something like that." Dude, look in the mirror, man. Look at all the things you do every
Because
day.
somebody said, yeah, well, I'm not Jesus, so I don't have to like bad people. And it's like, yeah, maybe. Somebody says, it seems we sometimes prefer a bad person to come to Jesus through the side door. Come to Jesus as you are, but don't come through the same door with me mentality. That's an interesting
right?
thought. So,
Yeah, I think you got to take a step back and really look at your own life, you know? Examine your heart and truly understand what the gospel's about, you know? What love truly looks like when you read, you know, the gospels.
yeah, because we can say, like, well, I'm not Jesus, so I don't have to do these things. But I think of Matthew chapter 5, when Jesus is talking, it's the Sermon on the Mount, you know, and what he says about our enemies, right? Like eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth. That's basically what it comes down to with our mentality. Well, they did this, so then in order to right that, they have to do this. It's like the penance, basically.
Yeah.
So, but I tell you, man, not to resist an evil person. If anyone slaps you on the right cheek, turn to them the other cheek also. If anybody wants to sue you and take your shirt, hand over your cloak as well. If anyone forces you to go 1 mile, go 2 miles with them. Give to the one who asks you, and do not turn away from the one who wants to borrow from you. You used to talk about loving your neighbors and hating your enemies, but it's like, I tell you, love your enemies. Pray for those who persecute you, that you may be children of your Father in heaven. That's a big one.
Right?
Ugh. So, if you love those who love you, what reward will you get? Like, everybody does that. That's easy. Loving people who are lovable and easy to love. And if you greet only your own people, what are you doing more than others? Don't the pagans do that? So be perfect. There you go. There's the call. Be perfect. As your heavenly Father is perfect. You're like, dang, that's, are you sure that's for me?
Yeah. You're reading that and
I
my
have to
heart
love
is
my
convicted,
enemies?
man. It's
Those people I just despise.
Right.
I'm supposed to love them and pray for those who persecute
gosh,
me.
I'm the
and like,
worst of the worst. I'm telling
listen,
you right
dude,
now.
I need this more than anybody else today. I'm not just trying to throw this
Yeah.
out to Jesus juke somebody. Like, it's the gospel. Like, it's the truth. This is fact. This
Right.
is what Christ has called us to be and who we are supposed to be. And so
Man,
I'm not excusing any poor
Exactly.
behavior.
And that's the thing. That's the thing. And, you know, we're calling people out on the live line that are, you know, throwing judgment on Jon Jones. But at the same time, hey, I get it. I can be so hypocritical. I really can.
Yeah.
Because I do the same thing, and then it's like I get hit upside the head, and it's like, oh gosh, what am I doing?
Mm-hmm.
You know, every day I do something, I say something that I shouldn't,
Yeah.
and thank God that he doesn't hold that against us. You know,
Yeah.
that we've accepted this amazing God that washes it all away, man. That's what he does.
Yeah, thank the Lord for his forgiveness.
Past,
and
present,
for
and future,
his,
man.
like, removing our sin as far as the east is from the west and forgetting it, not remembering it. Because I have a ledger and I remember people's crap.
Heck yeah. I write it all down on my phone, and I'm just like, oh, man.
I love everybody, but that dude over there, do you
Yeah.
know what he did?
Exactly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, oh, I love that guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
You guys can chime in. 505-338-3700 is the phone number to call in. You can also text into our live line. What's that number?
505-585-LIVE. That's 505-585-5483.
Yeah, and we're live on Facebook and YouTube. Just search Star 88 FM, and there we are. You can watch the show. You can hang out with us. You can go back and watch and hang out previous shows. We upload them every single day.
Yeah.
So, but we love it when you guys call.
Yeah.
Calling is the best. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I think you just
absolutely.
got to pick up the phone, you know?
Oh, don't you dare leave now. Just keep listening. I said you're holding back. We said shut up and call us now. The invasion is my destiny. We said, ooh, shut up and call us now. Oh, I said, ooh, shut up and call us.
Get out of here. You know what? You're terrible. Who was that? Fire that guy. Yeah. Phone lines are always open. We definitely prefer you calling us.
Oh, don't you dare leave now.
Okay.
Hilarious. How about this? Let's just agree to disagree. Some people want to dislike John. We'll dislike John, and you guys continue to treat him like a golden calf.
Oh,
I'm glad
wow.
we had this conversation. It's clearly done wonders.
So stubborn.
That's the funny
So
thing, though.
stubborn.
Like, do you think that's why? Because somebody else made a
Golden
comment
calf.
about how there are still consequences for sin, and people get upset because, say, star pro athlete billionaire guy, best in the world, the consequences seem to be less severe than it would for the average person.
I don't know,
I think
man.
I think it seemed to be, which is a good way to put it, because sure, it can seem that way on the surface in some areas. Like when I saw that yesterday, when ESPN broke the news, I was going, 15 months, huh? Oh, retroactive? So basically he's just about done? And he kind of just got a vacation? And that's my mentality. I immediately was frustrated.
I didn't even look at it like that at all.
But what I'm saying is, seems to be, because we don't know what his life has been like on a personal level for the last 14,
And that's
13
it,
months.
right? You
we
know it's
don't
been tough.
know him as a human being. And imagine everywhere you go, you've got that guy. You've got the Starmy member who hates this guy, who is vocal and willing to say so to his face.
Right.
You've got the person that, like, as a celebrity, it's like, well, yeah, but it just seems like the consequences aren't that severe. Now imagine 50% of the population who is that aggro hate you attitude for what you've done and will never forgive you attitude, and being at the grocery store.
Right.
Or just out in public somewhere, and someone feeling the need to just have to tell you how wrong you are and how foolish and arrogant and stupid you are, and you are always going to be reminded for your past.
Yeah.
On a very, 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 very minute level, I understand this. I really do. And it's crazy how people will come up to you years later who, for whatever reason, can't forgive and condemn you for an action from years ago because it was public or whatever. And so we don't know. It sure seems like he's getting off easy, but man alive.
Yeah, we don't know.
We don't.
And we shouldn't just read everything on the internet and believe that's the gospel truth, you know? Because it's not. And shame on you, whoever you are that texted in. Shame on you. You probably need to examine your heart.
Well, shame on all of us because we all do it. We do.
Yeah,
I
but you know,
agree.
you need somebody to call you out on it.
Yeah.
And I love it when people call me out on it, which doesn't happen very often. I wish people would do that more.
Yeah, I think that
But-
it's this weird pendulum. Like, I'm going to continue to hate this person. You continue to worship that person. It's like, nah, man, it's neither of those things.
Yeah.
We're both called similarly to love that person. Now, love doesn't mean we just go, whatevs. What he just live how you want to. Nah, man, you still like call people on the carpet for their crap, but you do that encouragingly so, as Galatians says, right? Spur one another on in love because we want to see them grow and mature and change their life, not down that person until they feel guilty enough to turn it around. What if this is the catalyst that draws this dude back to Jesus?
Right?
We don't know.
Good call, sir. Good call. All right, we have to take a break. We have to, guys. When we come back, you guys love the pranks.
Oh, no.
Do we have a brand new prank?
Oh, no.
We might have a brand new prank for you guys. Of course, 3 Degrees coming up with Brian Nixon at 7. And possibly Shock Therapy Live coming up at 9. It's Thursday, guys. Good morning. We'll be right back.
This is a fresh thought. Listen up to Levi Lusko.
But the mistake that you could make in identifying the messenger who brings the message with the Messiah who's using the person to bring the message to you is you then look to a person to give you what only God can. And what's going to inevitably happen is that person's going to let you down. If I haven't yet, I will let you down. I probably will before the day's over. And I just can't give you what only God can give you. A person can't give you what only God can give you. So when you look to a person to give you what only God can give you, your identity, your value, your salvation, your healing, your everything has to come from Him. And be thankful for the people that God uses, but keep your eyes on God, because then when the person lets you down, it's easy to get sideways with the person because you were looking to them to do what they never were equipped to do. Uzziah was never meant to give Isaiah any inner peace.
For more fresh thoughts, go to LeviLusko.com. Rich Wilkerson Jr. reminds us that if we desire to lead, we must first learn to follow.
How many Christians have I met that say, I love Jesus, but I don't like the church? Hey, you don't have to go to church to be a Christian. Hey, church is boring. Hey, church is full of hypocrites. See, I think if we would just stop and reflect a little bit more on what we're saying and understand who we are as the church, we would never say these things. Because if we're the bride of Christ, there's no way to say, I love Jesus, but I don't like the church. That's like saying, I love you, Jesus, but I don't like your bride. Come on, I know you don't have to go to church to be qualified as a Christian, but come on, if you love Jesus and you're a Christian, why would you not want to go to church? Church is boring. Don't ever say that, ever. Because church is you and me, and I refuse to be boring. You're boring.
That's a PowerPoint on Star 88. A solar flare. We are not made for the mountains, for the sunrises, or for the other beautiful attractions in life. Those are simply intended to be moments of inspiration. We are made for the valley and the ordinary things of life. And that is where we have to prove our stamina and strength. Oswald Chambers said that on Star 88.
Even when my light burns low, I could never lose my hope. I've been down this road before. Now I know which way to go. You can try to drag me down, but I'll be living in the clouds. Everybody has their doubts, but you can't stop now. You just gotta live. You just gotta live. You just gotta.
Yeah. I want it like I need to breathe. Yeah. Make it clear like I need to see. Woo. As a kid, mama told me sky's the limit till you hit it. Like in Griffith to the fences, out of there, out the park, hit and run. That's my drive. It's a vibe, been that way all my life. Yeah, I shut it down when I shine with the truth. Yeah, I ride with the crew, gave my life to the truth. Testify, walk on water like the son of man. Understand, I'll never drown. Take a hit, never quit. Might be down, but never out. There are days that I fail, and the train's off the rail. Through the pain we prevail. Tell them you just gotta live.
Even when my light burns low, I could never lose my hope. I've been down this road before. Now I know which way to go. You can try to drag me down, but I'll be living in the clouds. Everybody has their doubts, but you can't stop now. You just gotta live. You just gotta live.
till there's nothing left. Lean on. We need you like there's no one else. Ain't nobody out here more like you. And with you that broke the mold, and ain't no more like you. That's for sure. I can't drop out like the top down on the coat. Tell them watch out when I walk, I make a move. Sunday morning with my hands up, like they got the handcuffs. Searching for some answers since mama passed cancer. And my sister left Seattle with a one-way ticket home. Hope she holding Chase and teaching him to speak some more. I know, gotta keep it going. Yeah, that's all it told me. Tell them you can make it when you know the one and only.
Burning right beyond the fire. You were born to win, yeah, you're a fighter. Don't let your light just fade away. You just gotta live.
You just gotta live. You just gotta live.
You just gotta live.
You just gotta live.
I just wanna live.
He wants you to live.
You just gotta live. Even when my light burns low, I could never lose my hope. Everybody has their doubts, but you can't stop now. You just gotta live. Yeah. I just wanna live.
What's going on in the news today?
President Trump is touring the Carolinas, visiting areas devastated by Hurricane Florence.
Our entire American family is with you and ready to help.
The Republican chairman of the Senate Judiciary Committee says Christine Blasey Ford has until Friday to submit her testimony to the panel, saying she can appear in public or private on Monday. Her lawyer says Ford will not testify until the FBI investigates her accusations.
Manhunt in the nation's capital after a female jogger was fatally stabbed in this killing, they say.
The leaders of North and South Korea signing a wide-ranging peace agreement.
Kim Jong-un pledging to completely dismantle a key nuclear test site.
Mark Cuban has agreed to donate $10 million after a scathing report detailed widespread sexual misconduct within the sports empire he owns.
The Boston Red Sox can clinch first place in the American League East. They had already printed a banner marking the title, but it went missing. Enter Louis Iacuzzi and James Amaral, who said they found it on the side of the road. They offered to return it for a price.
We would like, maybe to go to a nice playoff game. Or...
They did return the banner, but got nothing. Swing and miss.
And a swing and a miss, everybody. Good morning. Make sure you guys download that Star 88 app to your phone if you haven't yet. We're going to throw a pizza party for you. Village Pizza. They're going to give out free pizza. We're going to have a party for you if we can reach 5,000 downloads of the Star 88 app. So do it. Tell your friends. Share it. We want to party with you. And eat pizza. You guys can chime in, 505-338-3700. We're live on Facebook and YouTube at Star 88 FM. And what's the live line number to text in?
505-585-LIVE. That's 505-585-5483.
So either the bosses aren't listening to our show or they're okay with my pranks. I'm not sure which one. But, yeah, I haven't been fired yet, and they haven't asked me to stop doing the pranks, so we got a new prank for you guys. You ready? You guys ready for a new prank? They call me the prankster.
Dude, when you said that this morning, people out, Casey, just more pranks, all caps, heart. And I'm just cringing on the inside.
All right, so far, I've called a daycare. I called a singing school. Yeah. What else did I call? Some poor lady. I'm not sure if she even worked anywhere. But today, I'm going to call a drugstore. You know, yesterday we were talking about being anxious and anxiety and how people are medicating themselves.
Yeah.
And so I decided to use some of those clips from our show yesterday to call a drugstore and have some fun.
How can I help you?
Good morning. Welcome to the show.
Hello?
This is what happens.
Well, how can I help you?
And we're seeing it a lot with young kids, is that the anxiety comes.
Okay. Do you have a problem that we can help you with?
My kid has a lot of anxiety.
What have you taken this morning, sir? Have you taken any medication?
So they put him on these
What?
pills. I have a family member, perfect example.
Is there anything I can do to help you?
Her personality's completely gone. She's not even the same person because they have her on Prozac and she's a zombie now. Like, she's just gone.
Okay.
But there's no personality because she's on medication because she has anxiety. That to me is insane.
You need any help?
All these stories that come out where a teacher physically harms a kid, I go, you know what?
If you would like to give us a call back, we would be happy to help you when you have, had, a little bit less of whatever it is that you've had.
Oh my gosh,
Listen,
this poor
I get it.
Sir, are you there?
And look, they're probably doing things that are helping them feel better.
I'm sorry. Thank you.
So crazy.
She won.
She
won for longest hanger outer
She
on
did.
the phone with you.
She did over
in
2
slow
minutes,
motion.
man. Over 2 minutes. I would have stayed on the phone too. I'd have
She
been like,
deserves
"What
a
is
raise."
happening with this guy?"
I mean,
You
she
kidding
works
me?
for a pharmaceutical place. Like, that's gotta. Maybe she's used to like having to deal with
Exactly, because that's probably the
people
norm.
who have like taken bad meds or
My mom,
something. Or...
she's been working at Costco for years, and they put her in the pharmacy department. She works there every once in a while.
Yeah.
Because they kind of move people around if you work at Costco. She was telling me the people that show up to get their drugs. Oh my gosh. It's really sad. It's really, really sad because people are on these pills that shouldn't be on pills.
Yeah.
They're abusing them.
Yeah.
And that guy who called that drugstore is one of them. He's
slightly.
on something.
Mm-hmm.
Clearly. Jinx. Pranks, guys. You want them.
Speaking of pranks, follow-up prank. We need to call her back because she deserves a prize and give her a copy of Samson on DVD.
Yeah, okay.
Double prank. Double prank.
Who knows? That might be the last prank ever. Yeah. You just never know when they're going to shut it down. But if you love them, let us know. And let me know. Who do you want me to prank next? You know? Who do you want me to prank next?
Yeah,
Who should I call next? Have a little fun. Call me the prankster.
Well, I mean, that person was very patient. I'm like, we should think of people who with patience and try and win out. You know what we need to do next? We should do like prank rodeo, man. You
Prank
know?
rodeo.
Yeah, you got like, what is it, 8 seconds to survive on that bull. Let's see which one of our moms has more patience, man.
Yo, our moms? Yeah. Well, I mean, my mom's probably listening right now, so now she knows.
Oh, that's cool.
But your mom's not even up yet, I bet.
She's not.
So we could prank
It's
your mom.
5:45 there. She's not up.
That's true. So we'll put that one in our back pocket and make it happen. You know which one I want to use next is remember when Christian used to call us?
Oh my gosh.
We haven't heard from
yes.
Christian
We
in a
haven't
long
heard from him in
time.
a
I
very
want to
long
get some
time.
Christian drops and call some people.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. You never know. If you call the show, you might be used as a prank call in the future.
This
Just
is
saying.
true. This is true.
Good morning, everybody. Live from the Dream Style Remodeling Star 88 Studios. 3 Degrees with Brian Nixon coming up at 7. It's going to be an hour of going back in time on this day. And we usually talk about something trending around 7:30. A Coming up at 9, Shock Therapy Live with Pastor Nate Heitzig. And would you like to hear a story about a grandma that killed a gator or a blind high school football player that scored two touchdowns?
I'm
Which one?
sorry. Did you just say a grandma that killed a gator?
Yeah, these are two of we'll get to both of these stories, but which one do you want right now? 'Cause
The grandma.
you want the grandma story? Because this is crazy. You don't mess with anybody that's, I think, 70 and older. They have life experience.
Yeah.
You know, you automatically count them out because they're old and maybe they're not as strong as they used to. But guess what? They're so strong mentally that if you take on one of these elderly people, you're going down.
Yeah, this is true.
New mayor of Livingston, Texas, is a 73-year-old woman named Judy Cochran. She's a grandma. And also, she is a hero. She's like a superhero. About 3 years ago, her miniature horse was killed by an alligator. Props to her. You know, she owned a miniature. I've always wanted to own a miniature horse.
Yeah.
I think they're the cutest things in the world. And I would own one in a second.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think the Petersons would be cool with a miniature horse. They got a huge
They have
backyard.
miniature dogs already.
Exactly.
So little poodle things.
Yeah, so this gator killed her miniature horse 3 years ago. And she knew exactly which gator did it. He's a 12-foot, 580-pound beast who lives in the river along her ranch. Now, a 12-foot, 580-pound gator, that's a big gator. That's a big one. Because I think like the world record, I think it's like 13 or something. Well, this year she decided to get revenge. Gator hunting season only lasts for 3 weeks. It's going on right now, so she had to act fast. So on Monday, she put a dead raccoon in her backyard as bait and waited for the gator. And when that gator took the bait, Judy ran out and shot him right in the head. There's a picture of this giant gator hanging. Look at that thing, man. Look at how big it is compared to her.
Oh my God.
That is such a huge gator. And she's like, I'm
just joking.
Getting revenge.
That is insanity, guys.
She got revenge.
That gator's like 5 times her size.
It really is.
It just kept dinging all day long, and that's why I carried an extra charger with me. This is what I killed on Monday, and several wrote back, no, you did not do that. And I said, yes, I did do that. One shot in the head, and he just went under. Typically, they'll do what they call a death roll, and just roll over and over and over. Well, this one didn't. 3 years ago, we came up missing a miniature horse, and they're about so big, about like a big lab. And I said, don't mess with Nana. My grandchildren call me Nana.
Don't mess with Nana. Oh, my gosh. Oh, man. Now, here's the thing with hunting gators is that you can't just shoot a gator anywhere. It's like they wear, it's like they have protective, like, iron around their body, okay? The only way you can kill a gator is by a little small spot on the top of their head that is where you can shoot them in the brain. So you have to seriously get it right in the top of the head perfectly to kill a gator.
Well, Nana knows how to do that.
She had to run up and like put that gun right to the gator's head and kill it. I watch Swamp People, I know. Is that still on? Swamp People?
Totes still on.
I watched like the first 12 seasons and then I'm like, I think I'm done with this show. But yeah, she killed a 12-foot, 580-pound beast, 74-year-old mayor of Livingston, Texas, Judy Cochran. You don't mess with grandma or
You
Nana.
don't.
You don't mess with Nana.
You don't.
What have you killed lately? What have you gone out and killed any animals lately?
I don't. I
No?
don't hunt. I don't kill. I really don't.
What are you, one of them tree huggers? Huh? I knew I smelled patchouli on you.
Patchouli?
Yeah, man. Oh, yeah. I know you.
You only
Tree
knew
huggers
me.
love patchouli. You love it. You bathe in it. It's weird. I bet you're a vegetarian. You're one of them vegans.
Okay.
Or vegans. What do you call them? Vegans or vegans? I'll take you out hunting after the show.
I just don't know you anymore.
We'll go out and try to get them trash pandas.
Trash pandas?
Yeah. That's right, trash pandas, or also known as the raccoon. They're little thieves.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll get one of them ground squirrels. Gopher. One of them marmots.
Guys, he's just going for it right now.
That's right. I'm a hunter now.
He is a hunter extraordinaire.
And my accent gets thicker as I keep going. It just gets thicker and thicker. And then I'm going to move into the South, maybe Alabama. Maybe I'll go and hang out with Teo in Mississippi. That's how they talk over there in Mississippi. That's how Teo used to talk.
Who are you?
What's a good redneck name? Give me a good redneck name.
Millie Bobby Brown.
My name's Millie Bobby Brown. No, that's a girl from Stranger Things. Millie Bobby Brown. You know what? That's kind of redneck. It's pretty good. My name's Millie Bobby Brown. Raised in the South. I love to kill gators.
That's still crazy to me. Imagine if that's your Nana,
Yeah. Kind of reminds me of my mom. Yeah. My mom would do something like that. If there was an animal that killed one of her dogs, one of her long-haired chihuahuas, my mom she'd be packing heat and she'd be looking for that animal. She wouldn't quit, man. That's what that generation does, man. Mm-hmm. They're a different breed. Just a different type of person that lives up in Montana or even lives in Texas, right?
Man.
Isn't that kind of crazy? You look at the different types of people that live in the country, and it's like, if you live in a part of the country where you have tough winters, there's a different type of person that lives there. You can't be a sissy and live in Montana.
You can't.
You just can't.
That's why I've never been, man. One of them city boy sissies. That's me.
You can't be a sissy and live in Texas.
Yeah. Somebody says I kill a lot.
Yeah?
Of time.
Okay. All right, everybody.
That's how I do.
Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
That's how you do. Do we have time for one more story? Maybe we can squeeze in this blind high school.
Oh, yes.
Football player. Okay, I saw this headline. I was like, blind high school football player. Okay, I haven't even read the story yet. Let's just guess, okay? Do you think that it was one of those situations where this guy's blind and the team's like, let's do something
loves
cool for
football.
him.
Let's
have him
do
score
something.
2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
Or do you think it was like, no, this guy's so great.
Well, because you're setting it up that way.
I see, but I don't know. I have no idea. I haven't read the story.
Oh, you just read the headline?
Yeah, I just read the headline. I have no idea. Do you think it's like,
no, this
he's
is legit.
blind?
He's Daredevil.
He's Daredevil?
Yeah.
So
nobody even knows he's blind. Except you're ruining it.
So you don't think it's because they felt bad for him?
Nope.
They're like, okay, charity, let's have this guy score a touchdown.
Nope.
2 touchdowns.
2 touchdowns, no. 1 touchdown, maybe.
Let's find out. There's a freshman running back at a high school in Phoenix named Adonis Watts. Adonis, that's a great name.
That's a great name.
He was diagnosed with glaucoma at the age of 4. He lost his vision a few years later. So he's completely blind. But he's not letting that hold him back. Oh, man, I see where this story's going. Earlier this month, papers in Arizona covered him after he scored his first touchdown. But Adonis wasn't at all thrilled because it was a gimme. Okay. The first one was a gimme? Okay, all right. The other team didn't try to tackle him. They just let him run the ball in. Which, of course, Adonis was like, really? Really, guys? He wanted to score for real. Or not score at all. So for their next game this past weekend, his coach made sure the other team's defense wouldn't do that. They tried to tackle him, just like any other running back. And he scored 2 legit touchdowns from just outside the goal line. He punched one in from a yard out and ran in another one from 3 yards out. Now, obviously, he's realistic about the whole football thing and isn't looking to make the NFL or anything, but those 2 touchdowns, pretty sweet, pretty cool. And he's also got plenty of other interests, too. He's on his high school wrestling team, plays piano, does charity work to help out other people in the blind community. That's a stand-up guy right there.
Like, I want to see.
Is
there a video?
I don't know. Let's hear from this this young man.
I mean, you just got to run through them, you know? You can't. For example, if it's a run play, I'm on the left side, quarterback is supposed to go across him and go right. You got to, like, run through it so I can know exactly, like, where I'm supposed to be.
Well, it's like any other player, really. He's a person. God gives everyone challenges in their life, and he's clearly overcome his. You know, his personality is crazy fun. Every single day on the field, it's just, you wake up, it's like, man, Adonis is going to be funny today. Like, he's stronger than most people on the field, and he's got a lot of heart.
I mean, most of the time I try to use my ears to hear if anybody's coming, but, like the play, they brace me a lot. I mean, Brophy's just a great school.
It's legit, guys. We just watched.
We
watched him get tackled, and then we watched him punch in for a touchdown.
He's like Ezekiel Elliott or Marshawn Lynch. That dude just keeps barreling through
puts
until
his
they
head
go,
down
"You
and
scored!
goes."
You scored!"
Yeah,
that's crazy watching that.
Right.
I am so fired up right now.
Right?
Oh,
yeah,
it's a good story, bro.
So, yeah, at first they were like, oh, don't tackle him, man. He's blind. Who wants to be the guy that tackles a blind guy? Let's let him have a touchdown. And then Adonis was like, dude, are you serious? Come on, guys.
Hit me.
Hit me, come on.
It's football.
He scored 2 touchdowns when they were playing. Wow. They were tackling him. Good for him, man.
Dude, it's pretty incredible. He's on his high school wrestling team. He does charity work.
Yep.
He plays piano.
Yep. That's, you know what? God, just close your eyes. Let's do the whole show with our eyes closed in honor of Adonis.
You're such an idiot.
Hold on, let me see if I can. Oh, okay.
Did you do it?
Yeah, but I need my other wall.
See, this is stupid. This is not how we honor a dude.
Hold on.
Did you hit the right?
Hold on.
2,000 years later.
Okay.
You know what? Cut his mic.
Yeah.
See anything? Oh, just trying to hit the right buttons here.
You'll get it. You'll get it. This is not working out for you.
I like this song. This is a good one.
Wow. I'm opening my. Here,
Okay.
what if one of us can do that and the other one, I'll guide you?
No, but then that's charity, dude.
Oh, right.
Yeah, I got to do this on my own.
Okay.
2,000 years later.
I got to hit the right button before I go to break. Darn it. That's not it.
Left.
Message.
Left.
Good morning, gentlemen.
Not to play that
Mark.
yet. No, Mark.
I've been thinking about
I got
this for a few
that's
weeks.
the one I wanted to
Left.
play
You're
a
going the
couple
wrong
days
way.
ago. Okay,
Left.
hold on.
Thank you. And how are you?
Okay.
Left.
Left. Oh, done right.
No, still.
Yeah,
Gosh.
guys, this isn't going to work.
not
I can't do it.
working.
I wanted to honor you, Adonis.
You
Oh, look at the time. We got to go to
ruined
break.
the story.
Guys, 3 Degrees with Brian Nixon is coming up next. Don't go anywhere.
I'm Daniel, and it's time to get in the tech now. Disneyland can be tough. I mean, it's expensive, it's really far away, and boredom from standing in line can crush your family's spirits. But it turns out Disney's got an app for that. They've just released the Play Disney Parks app. It's filled with games and songs that are designed to take that hour-plus wait for Space Mountain and make it seem like fun. The app is free and available for both Android and iOS. It can be played anywhere, although some content is exclusive to being at the Disney parks. The app includes numerous games and activities, and some attractions even have their own games, such as Toy Story Mania, Peter Pan's Flight, Space Mountain, and the new Slinky Dog Dash at Hollywood Studios. There's even an achievement system built into the app that will give you discounts on Disney food and paraphernalia. I hate to make the comparison, but I think there's a lot that us as churches can learn from Disneyland. They're constantly focused on the experience of visiting their park, from top to bottom, and they face a lot of the same problem churches do, like how to keep people coming back in spite of the cost. In Disney's case, it's hours and $100 per ticket. In our case, it's a couple of hours a time and maybe a tithe. My favorite part, though, is that the app was designed primarily for use at the parks. There's the element of use the other 366 days a year, which builds anticipation and keeps the user engaged. And I think that's something that we can definitely do better with congregations. I'm Daniel, and now you're in the Techno on Star 88.
A Star 88 Supernova. Here's Rick Warren.
If you said to God, whatever it takes, God, I want to be yours, then you can't get tied up in a lot of other things. So what do you need to let go of? Look at this verse up here on the screen. The Bible says in 1 Corinthians 10, everything is permissible, but not everything is beneficial. What does that mean? Everything is permissible, but not everything's beneficial. It means this. A lot of things aren't necessarily wrong. They're just not necessary. See, life is not a choice between, am I going to follow God or be a terrorist? No, it's not that way. It's, am I going to do something good or am I going to do something that's the best? God says, I want you to know what to let go of. Now, let me give you the greatest time management tip you'll ever get. This is the greatest time management tip. It's a 2-letter word, no.
Catch Rick Ward's Daily Hope on KNKT 107.1 weekdays at 7:30 a.m. This is Star 88 at 88.3 FM, KLYT, Albuquerque, Santa Fe, and online at star88.fm.
Just like the city lights. Just like the city lights. You're the brightest. You are lighting up the night. You're the wonder, bringing color to our lives. It's your love. The city lights. We're gonna burn bright like we've come alive. We've come alive, and the world needs to know the hope that we hold. Love is breaking through the darkness. We're gonna burn bright like the city lights. Just like the city lights. Just like the city lights. Your love is a fire. Your love is a fire. We will never be the same, and our hearts cannot contain. Your love is a fire. Your love is a fire. We will never be the same, and our hearts cannot contain. Your love is a fire. Your love is a fire. Oh, we're gonna burn bright like the city lights. Just like the city lights. We're gonna burn bright like we've come alive. We've come alive, and the world needs to know the hope that we hold. Love is breaking through the darkness. We're gonna burn bright like the city lights. Just 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 like the city lights. The city lights. Like the city lights. Just like the city lights.
Invasion with Dex and Steve-O on Star 88.
And just like the city lights pass through the hourglass, so are the days of our lives.
This isn't the Days of Our Lives theme music.
It's not. It's the 3 Degrees theme music.
This is 3 Degrees theme music, and it's very nice to wake up in the morning, hear this amazing flamenco guitar,
sip on that coffee
with this trumpet going. I mean, this is great morning music.
Sure is. Brian Nixon, everybody. Welcome to the show.
Hey, Dex, Steve-O, great to be with you guys. You know, before we jump into 3 Degrees, we're going to let our listening audience know what the second half is going to be about, so you could put on your thinking cap and chime in. What's the number they would call to chime in, Dex?
505-338-3700. We'll do that around 7:30.
Yeah, I would think around 7:30. That's normally our time where we move to a topic. So I challenged Dex and Steve-O to this. I said, I want you to name some high-impact Christian leaders of the past 50 years. So what I mean by that is the person had to have died by 1968.
No, cannot have died prior to
1968. Yeah, so 1968 is kind of your cutoff. So if they died in 1968, you could still name them.
Before.
But if they died before 1968, you can't name them.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. You know, there's a lot of talk about, you know, what makes a great Christian leader, and, you know, there's books and seminars.
Culture. You gotta, because I started writing it and I'm like, Ovs, Billy Graham,
but
Greg Laurie, and you're going, no, not like.
Well,
not
some
like
of those
in the
guys,
church.
some of those guys did impact culture, and so, but you're right, Steve. We want people that impacted culture, broadly speaking, not just the church.
Got it.
Men and women who have made a huge impact in the broader culture. And really more, they're known for something distinct and excelling to the highest level in their field.
Okay.
So that's what we're going to talk about the second half. So if you have someone in mind, you're going to chime in during the second half of the broadcast.
I only have 6 so
I have
far.
3 so far.
That's good. Well, we're going to talk about those guys. But for now, we're going to do our normal course of events. So you ready?
Yes.
Here we go, guys.
All right. Yes. On this day, in 451 AD, Flavius defeated who?
Flavius?
The French.
Nope.
Flavius?
You guys know who this is.
Flavius. He defeated the Romans.
He was Slovakian?
I'll give you, Flavius was a Roman leader. He defeated this Hun.
Oh, Attila!
There you
I'm
guys
related
go.
to him. I'm actually related to Attila the Hun.
Attila's a dude?
Swear.
Yeah, Attila the Hun. That's right. On this,
Did you know that?
No, I didn't know that.
I'm
you were
related to him.
How you could prove that, I don't know.
No, we did a family tree, and it led back to Attila the Hun.
Okay.
Your family tree goes all the way back to the 400s.
Actually,
That is
Adam
a
and Eve, dude.
giant
It actually goes
tree.
way back to Adam and Eve.
Okay.
Okay. So Attila the Hun, your
That's a giant
distant
family
relative,
tree.
Dex, got
You know what? Don't
spanked
believe me.
by
I don't.
Flavius.
Do you know? You want to know another fact about Attila the Hun?
Yeah.
He was a dwarf.
There you go.
That's where I get my small hands.
That probably is it.
Oh, man.
I am directly related to Flavius Flav.
Yeah, so your family beat
yeah, boy.
your Roman family beat the Attila the Hun.
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. In 1519, this and we mentioned him on a couple programs ago, so you guys should get this. In 1519, this Portuguese sailor set off for the first trip around the world. That's exactly right.
And Magellan. And they were friends.
Magellan. Last time he had just landed from his trip around the world, but this is the day he set off.
Yep.
Okay, here we go. On this day in 1814, the Star-Spangled Banner is published. Who wrote the lyrics
George
to?
Washington.
No.
I know this too.
Who wrote the lyrics to Star-Spangled Banner?
Ross.
Come on, our listeners. Come on, guys.
Barack Obama.
No.
Donald
In
Trump.
1814, guys. 1814.
Yeah, he's timeless.
All right, here we go. Francis Scott Key.
Darn it! I knew that.
So
Now,
close.
if you knew who wrote the tune, then I'd really be impressed.
James Belushi.
So close. John Smith.
Oh.
Okay. You guys don't know this one, but what he invented is so important you use it almost every day. You at least use it weekly, hopefully.
The watch?
On this day in 1859, George Simpson patented what?
He patented the
Silly putty.
silly putty.
No.
We use it
You-
always
you
every
use
day.
that every day?
A carburetor.
What do you
A
cook?
watch.
What do you cook on?
An oven.
Stove.
That's right. The electric range stove.
Huh.
So in 1859, he patented the electric range stove.
That's
so we
cool.
have him to thank for being able to cook your dinner quickly.
Thanks, man. That's
you don't have to
cool.
light a fire anymore. All right. On this day in 1904, these two brothers made a...
Wright brothers.
There you go. I don't even have to say it. Wow.
Good for you,
How many
man.
other brothers were in the early 1900s? Come on.
They flew in a circle using the Flyer 2 on this day.
Boom.
Okay?
Name another set of brothers from like the beginning of the
That's true.
1900s.
So true. So true. But Steve, I'm still impressed.
Oh,
Okay, on this day in 1932, this famous Indian began a hunger strike against treatments of the
I'm going
untouchables.
hungry, I'm going hungry, yeah.
Not Chris Cornell or the other guy.
I don't mind stealing bread.
What famous Indian leader started his hunger strike on this day against treatment of the untouchables? Come on, guys. They made movies about this guy.
Come on, bro.
I'm going through
His
all
name
my...
starts with a G.
Oh,
Come on,
Geronimo.
bro. Yeah.
Geronimo? Gandhi. Gandhi.
Gandhi.
Gandhi.
Oh, wait. You serious?
Yeah.
Indian leader, not like we're
Not Native
East
American.
Indian,
You should've
said
not
feather
Native
dot. You
American.
should've
Do you
said
think
dot.
you'd ever say
You should've
Indian
said
if
dot.
talking about a Native American?
Say dot next
I
time.
would say Native American
He would say
next
Native
time.
American.
Okay, here's one you guys should get. On this day in 1979, this Albuquerque resident was arrested in Florida for indecent exposure.
What year?
1971.
71?
71. 1971. This Albuquerque, well, he grew up in Albuquerque, wasn't arrested.
Oh, no.
No. And he was arrested for indecent exposure.
I know
Jim
this.
Morrison.
That's right, Jim Morrison. Steve-O, you're on fire today. Jim Morrison was arrested on
Come
this
on,
day
baby, light my fire.
in Florida.
Right?
Okay? On this
great come
day
true.
in 1984, this famous TV comedy about a family premiered on NBC, and now the guy's in lots of trouble.
80 what?
84.
Bill Cosby, The Cosby Show.
That's right. Cosby Show premiered on NBC, and now Bill Cosby's in a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
Okay, on this day in 2001, what U.S. president declared a war on terror?
George W. Bush.
That's right, George W. Bush. All right, and the last for our events for September 20th, 2018. On this day in 2015, recent history, Pope Francis met with this famous communist
Bono.
leader.
Oh, communist leader.
Oh my gosh. Putin.
No, I'd say he was the leader of
Kim
Cuba.
Jong-un.
Of Cuba.
Fidel Castro.
That's right.
Yeah.
There you guys go. Pretty good. You guys did pretty good this for these events. But now we're getting to the births.
Okay.
Ooh, the birds.
On September 20th, 2018. All right.
I'm like,
On
who was
this
born
day in 1833, this Nobel Prize winning Italian journalist was born.
Oh, dude.
You got this, bro.
Super Mario.
No.
Super Mario.
Ernesto
Yeah.
Moneta.
Duh. That's his real name.
Oh, that's Mario's real name?
Yeah.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
was a plumber. And
Yeah?
It's crazy. They made a video game after him.
All right. So, yeah, Ernesto Teodoro Montera was born on this day, and he won the Nobel Prize winning for
For
for peace.
Invented pizza.
He was a peace advocate in the 1830s.
He was a pizza advocate.
Okay, 1878, the author of The Jungle was born.
Oh, dude.
Oh, dude, Axl Rose.
Yeah, the tokens.
Not Welcome to
the
the
Lion
Jungle.
Sleeps Tonight.
No, Upton Sinclair.
Oh, I knew that.
Yeah.
All right. In 1883, this German Christian scholar, he worked with Kittel on the standard Old Testament text. What's his name?
No idea.
Dude, Oppenheimer. Duh.
No, that's the guy that worked on the bomb.
Yeah.
This is Albrecht.
Because the Bible is the bomb. Am I right?
Wrong.
Okay.
All right. No, this was Albrecht Alt.
What a terrible
Alt and
name.
Kittel's standard Old Testament text. Okay. This is a very important one. The last two are important.
So
On this
important.
day in 1928, this famous Pulitzer Prize winning U.S. poet laureate was born. And yes, Steve, you'll be reading poems here in a minute. And he just died this past year.
Dang it. Lost
Oh, wow.
Just died, but he was born in 1928, just died
No
this
idea.
past year. U.S. poet laureate and Pulitzer Prize winning poet. His name's Donald Hall.
Donald Hall.
Yeah.
Never
And you're
even
going to be
heard of him.
reading two
Never.
poems that
Never.
are
I've never.
really quite
I've never even
sad.
heard of him.
Well, you should. He was our U.S. poet laureate.
Oh.
Now,
don't know
this
what that
last one you
means.
know. This last one you know.
What is a poet laureate?
That means each year, the United States government picks a poet that champions poems, and they write poems for the U.S. government for things of that nature.
Like this year was Kanye. That's why him
No.
and the president were hanging out so much. Poet laureate.
And a lot of them have won the Pulitzer
Prove me
Prize, but
wrong.
not always. Not always.
So it's Kendrick Lamar because he
no,
won.
He won for music. Yeah. Okay. Here's your last birth, and you'll get this one.
Okay.
This famous
every time.
Famous.
They're so famous.
Writer, Santa Fe resident,
Mm.
just won some Emmys, was born on this day in 1948.
George R.R. Martin.
That's right. George R.R. Martin just won some more Emmys for Game of Thrones. So happy birthday, George. If you're listening this morning.
He's a big fan of the show.
Yeah. If you're listening up in Santa Fe. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, man.
Happy birthday.
Yeah, George. All right, so here we go. Last three. We're moving to deaths now. On this day, on September 20th, 1863.
Okay.
No, you probably know this one, Steve-O.
Oh, okay.
On this day in 1863, this famous editor of fairy tales, and a lot of them had a dark side to them, died.
Aesop.
Nope.
The Brothers Grimm.
He was Greek.
Jeff Grimm.
You got it.
Jeff
Grimm.
The Grimm brothers.
Jakob Grimm died on this day in 1863.
Come on, I got that one.
Grimm's fairy tales.
Huh?
Mm-hmm. On this day in 1971, the famous biblical archaeologist died.
Noah.
I mean, he was
Indiana Jones.
He was very, very
Dr.
important.
Jones?
Other
Yes.
than Indiana
Dude,
Jones.
he discovered the Holy Grail and the Ark of the Covenant.
Yeah.
Duh.
No, William F. Albright died on this day in 1971. He is probably still considered one of the greatest biblical archaeologists ever to live.
I don't even know who that is.
Did amazing work, but William F. Albright.
Okay.
Okay, our last death for the day. On this day in 1973, this up-and-coming singer-songwriter who already had several hits, such as Bad Bad Leroy Brown and Time in the Bottle, died. Who is this?
Well, that's bad Leroy Brown, baddest man in the whole darn town.
That's right. Jim Croce.
Jim Croce.
And Steve-O, during this song,
Oh, no.
you are going to recite two poems by Donald Hall.
Oh, it's getting sad.
White Apples
You have to sing.
in Advent.
Okay.
So you got to turn it down a little bit,
No, you keep singing.
Dex. So these are two poems in commemorate.
Gosh.
Yeah, one may make Steve-O cry.
I'm going to do that one second, bro.
Okay, yep.
Oh, gosh.
So one's gonna. I picked it purposely to make Steve-O just remember.
When I see the cradle rocking.
What did you say? Did you say the name of the poem?
It's called Advent.
Okay, Advent by Donald Hall.
When I see the cradle rocking, what is it that I see? I see a rood on the hilltop of Calvary. When I hear the cattle lowing, what is it that they say? They say shadows feasted at Tenebrae. When I know that the grave is empty, absence eviscerates me, and I dwell in a cavernous, constant horror vacuum. What?
Yep.
What is that?
Well, it's Donald Hall talking about the Jesus, obviously, and he's talking about the Advent, his coming, but then it moves to his death. And I defined the two words at the bottom. So at the death, he really is just terrified in awe of what happened at Christ's death and resurrection.
Wow.
So it's a pretty profound poem, short but profound.
Yeah.
But the other one, really, I thought would mean something for you,
Yeah,
Steve-O.
gosh, jerk.
Go ahead.
This one is called White Apples.
Yes.
And Phoenix hates me.
No, I like you. That's why I chose it, because, you too love your father.
Yeah. This one's weird to read. Do I just do that line and then that line and then that
you
line?
just read
it's
it.
like really
Yeah, it's one of those
very
poems.
poetic, but
right.
it doesn't rhyme.
Right, it doesn't rhyme.
The Dr. Seussian Advent was way better for me.
Yeah.
This one is titled White Apples. When my father had been dead a week, I woke. With his voice in my ear, I sat up in bed and held my breath and stared at the pale closed door. White apples and the taste of stone. If he called again, I would put on my coat and galoshes.
Beautiful.
It is. It
And
is.
Fiend.
It is. You know, that's a beautiful poem because what it is his father had just died.
Yeah.
And his father comes to him in a dream, and he beckons his call, but realizes it's a dream. But basically he says, if my father called me again, I would just go out in the rain and do anything for him. So it's a beautiful poem, actually. So Donald Hall, U.S. Poet Laureate, born on this day, and that. And of course, we're listening to Jim Croce, who died in a plane accident on this day in 1973.
Never going on an airplane. It's too much.
Okay, you guys ready for this?
Yeah.
Before we get to our topic of discussion, who said that?
Who said that?
Who said that?
Okay.
Here we go. The best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others.
Ooh, Gandhi.
That's exactly right.
That's good.
I actually knew that one.
Wow.
That wasn't a guess.
That's good. So remember, for our listeners, I choose quotes from people we mentioned today. So they have to be from people that we already talked about, either through events, births, or deaths. Okay, so you just got Gandhi. Okay, here's the second one. A friend is someone who gives you total freedom to be yourself.
Oh, man. Bill Cosby.
Okay.
No.
Well, I mean, yeah, Bill close.
No. Close, though.
Yeah,
He was an entertainer, and he is from Albuquerque.
Oh, Jim Morrison.
That's right. Jim Morrison said, a friend is someone who gives you total freedom to be yourself. Now, this one is a little longer quote, and you should be able to get it because it's one of those ones that seem to solidify what this person did. But here it is. The more each nation contributes to world society from the wealth of its own aptitudes, its own race, and its own traditions, the greater the future development and happiness of mankind will be.
Attila the Hun. It was Attila.
No. Remember, this guy won the Nobel Peace Prize. He was an Italian journalist.
Yeah, Super Mario.
Yep.
Ernesto
Rodriguez.
Teodoro Moneta
Yes.
said that.
Yeah.
Okay, here's one that you'll get. All fiction has to have a certain amount of truth in it to be powerful.
Oh, J.R. Martin.
That's right. George R. Martin.
G.R.
Okay.
Martin.
And here's another one. Even though you said you didn't know or had heard his name, he is important. And just think of the
Kendrick
topic.
Lamar.
Here we go. There can be no doubt that archaeology has confirmed the substantial historicity of the Old Testament.
Indiana Jones.
Yeah, I can't remember his name.
Yeah, I don't know.
What was his name? Nelson?
William Albright.
Oh.
Yeah, that guy.
Oh.
Indiana Jones.
Indiana Jones is the second greatest.
Right.
You know, you put so much pressure on us, people.
Yeah.
Well, you guys did pretty good.
Thanks.
For events,
dude was
births,
Albright.
deaths. Who said that? For September 20th, 2018.
Beautiful.
All right, but now, guys,
But now.
we're moving to something different. So at the beginning of the hour, we told our listeners to think about high-impact Christians who have made an impact in the past 50 years. And so what we want to do is when you come up with the name or the person, obviously you have to make a case as to why you think they should be on a top 10 list.
5, 6. I have 7.
And that's okay. You could have 7. You could have 2, however. And we want to hear from people as well. So, Dex, what's the number people call in? Or they could, text or whatever.
It's 505-338-3700.
Oh, don't you dare leave now. Just keep listening. I said you're holding back. We said shut up and call us now.
Wow, that doesn't even rhyme.
All right.
You watch your mouth.
So remember, the criteria is they have had to have professed Christ. They've had to have an impact on the broader culture.
Okay.
And they're known for something distinct in their field, excelling to the highest level.
So
we just don't mean that they're famous and they happen to be Christian, but they've excelled at their highest level. So, Steve-O, give us your number 1.
Oh, gosh. My number 1?
Well, the first person you wrote down. It doesn't have to be even, you're like a number 1.
Fred Rogers.
Okay, he's on my list as well. Unquestionably.
Yes.
Yeah, unquestionably.
Fred Rogers,
and here's what I said.
Mr. Rogers.
An ordained Presbyterian minister, at his heights, Roger had millions of viewers each week on Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood.
Yep.
Some see Rogers as saving public television.
Yep.
Known for his kindness, compassion, and love of children.
Wait, I have a question.
Yes.
These are people that can still be alive or no?
They can still be
Okay.
alive.
All right,
yeah,
good.
but
that have
as
made
long
an impact in the last 50 years.
Okay.
yeah. So and Fred Rogers died in 2003. So it completely falls within that. So the last time a person could have died was 1968. Okay, so Dex, who do you say? We'll go to you now.
The first name I wrote down is someone that still impacts.
Yep.
I hope it's somebody I have on my list. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
His name is Pat Robertson.
Oh my
And
gosh.
He what? What?
Just go.
Yeah.
Do I?
Just go.
What?
Just go.
Why?
Oh wait, he didn't say positive or negative. So,
Exactly.
Okay. All right.
And it's my
He
list.
has had an impact on
It's
our
my
culture
list, all
in
right?
a certain way.
Pat Robertson.
Tell us
He's
why.
still
Okay,
doing it.
tell
He's
us
like
why.
105, all right?
Dude,
Okay.
get
I
out.
mean, the things that comes out of that guy's mouth is just intense and not sure if it's biblical a lot of times, but he doesn't care. He just goes for it.
So he has had an impact.
He has such an impact.
So
My grandma still watches him.
So Pat Robertson didn't make my list, but okay, that's good. Okay, now it's time for our listeners. So either we have to have a phone call or a Facebook. So someone else. Now,
We got 3 already.
Okay.
Tim Tebow?
okay, just leave it at that.
Okay.
Don't say another because we're always going to go back. So Tim Tebow.
Okay.
So now here's the thing. Tim Tebow didn't make my list
He didn't
because
make my list
here,
either.
here's the reason why. Because though he's a wonderful Christian man, and is popular, he's never excelled in his given field. So he was cut from football. He never made the major leagues. And this isn't knocking him, but he's a tremendous human being.
Yeah.
But again, he didn't make my list for that. So would you guys agree with me on that?
You know what?
On
Yeah, I'll
Tebow?
give you that one.
Okay.
I'm like 50-50 because he's coming. They just announced that he's coming back next year for another season with the Mets in like AA baseball.
Yeah.
I realize he's not excelled to the top of his field yet. He did win the Heisman, so he excelled to the highest point in
Okay,
college
good,
football.
good.
He did make the playoffs with the Broncos, which was absolutely impossible, and somehow he did it, which was incredible.
good.
He still persevered, and he's playing minor league baseball.
Nice.
So I'm not saying
No,
he's
no,
like,
no,
but I will
Steve-O,
say
that's
he has
good.
made a major impact.
Very good. That's what we're trying to
so
look.
I would say,
okay, now it's
sure.
my turn.
Okay.
Here's my. The first person I wrote down was Martin Luther King Jr.
Mm.
He died in 1968. Pastor, civil rights leader. We do have a holiday named after him.
do.
Obviously known for his eloquence, resolve, and determination.
Yeah.
So Martin Luther King Jr. was the first person I wrote down. He barely made the cutoff. He died in 1968, but his impact on our civilization and culture is immense. All right. So, Steve-O, back to you.
Phones.
Oh, phone.
Good morning. Go ahead.
Good morning. I don't know so much as if this qualifies as far as a historical leader, but somebody that's had immense impact on my life and got tens of thousands of other people's lives, if not hundreds of thousands. Craig Groeschel of Life Church out of Oklahoma City.
Yeah.
I am originally from Oklahoma City and started Life Church about 16 years ago when there was only 2 campuses.
Wow.
And now we're looking at how many
28,
campuses?
28, I
20,
believe.
30 campuses.
Yeah, 28.
Yeah.
You know, nationwide, we have people listening to Craig Groeschel around the world, and pretty much how Life Church has redefined how people are experiencing Christ.
I like that.
That's really good.
I mean, that's the social construct and impact of it, of course, it's just amazing. And as I said, I remember sitting in the little sprung 16 years ago when there was just a few hundred members at Life Church.
cool.
At the second, they just opened the second campus.
Yeah.
And now to see how it's just grown by leaps and bounds, like that's great.
Yeah, now,
It's
that's
amazing.
that's really good, and it's great. And Craig Groeschel didn't make my list, and not because I don't think he's a fine Christian leader. Obviously, I do, but I think and I think this caller made a great case. So
Yeah,
it's like
absolutely.
maybe I should put Craig Groeschel on my list.
YouVersion Bible app, that's huge.
But yeah, the Bible
Fastest
app.
growing church in the nation.
Yeah, but I also thought, the broader
You took
culture.
you took it out of the church.
Yeah,
That's why
yeah,
I didn't
exactly,
have pastors
exactly,
on my list.
exactly.
But she's not wrong. Like that
Yeah,
is
exactly.
Thank you for the call.
So good, and made a great case for him. Okay, so Steve-O, we're back to you now.
Back to me.
So who would be the second person you wrote down?
See, well, okay. You know what's funny? You know, the first person I wrote down wasn't Fred Rogers. Actually, the first person I wrote down, which fight me on this, is Denzel Washington.
I wrote Denzel Washington down as well.
Did you really?
Yeah, I did.
Nice!
Yeah, I wrote.
I thought I was going to get flack flack for
No,
this one.
and here's why I wrote Denzel Washington on my list. Because A, he's an Academy Award winning actor. So he's got to the highest level in his field. He's impacted culture across the board. He's obviously a producer, an activist, and he's really a trailblazer with his art.
Yeah.
So I put him down as well. Now, here's the other thing, Steve-O and Dex.
Yeah.
I think we could have easily put someone like James Stewart, who also was a devout Christian.
But he passed away
in 1997. So James Stewart is still could be qualified.
Okay.
He was a devout Christian. He also was Academy Award winning.
Yep.
And you could have put Tom Hanks, who also professes Christ and is an Academy Award winning. But I still put Denzel Washington because I think of the three between James Stewart, Tom Hanks, and Denzel
I have
Washington.
3 actors on my list.
I think Denzel Washington is probably the most outspoken Christian.
If not second most. Is there somebody calling in?
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Hey, go ahead, caller. You're live. Go ahead.
Oh, hey.
Yeah, go ahead.
Awesome. I would say Johnny Cash had a
on my list
large
on my
impact
list
on my Christian life.
Amen.
Johnny
list.
Cash is on my list in a way as well.
Yep.
Thank you so
Johnny
much.
Cash.
That's a good one.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Oh,
I gotta get to work, guys.
So good. So Johnny Cash, I put him on my list kind of as a supplementary one because I was really tossed to and fro between two people that if someone names them, we'll talk about them, or I'll name them as well. But Johnny Cash, in a way, made
Without
my
a
list
doubt.
as well.
Dude, Johnny Cash is the only audio Bible I've ever owned.
Yeah.
Like
Johnny Cash. And he wrote a book about Paul.
Dude, yes, The Man in White, which, by the way, it's a work of fiction, but it's based upon Paul's life, and it is a phenomenal read. Like, a lot of people don't realize Johnny Cash wrote a book, and it's this, it's I don't want to say a work of fiction because it's on the life of Paul, but he does take some liberties as far as what the thorn in his flesh was, and it's called Man in White.
Let me say some other
brilliant.
notable musicians who've made a big impact. You would also have to put, of course, Bob Dylan.
Yeah.
And this other person I won't mention yet because he's on my list. But Johnny Cash has won a Grammy, so he's the highest. He's impacted culture. So Johnny Cash, I may have to elevate him a little bit more. Okay, Dex, it's your turn. Who else did you write down?
Ted Nugent.
Oh, my God.
One of the greatest Americans that ever walked this land. He believes in gun rights. He believes in God. He believes in country. He believes that every man should be free. His name is the Nuge. The Ted Nugent. Okay.
I can't say Ted Nugent made my list.
What? Why not? He's a Christian.
Well, yeah. But I'm
God-fearing man.
I have multiple musicians on my list.
And
He
here's
is
the
not
thing.
on my list.
Here's the thing. He has made an impact. Cat Scratch Fever, all of that has made an impact. He likes to hunt and kill
does.
animals and
Yeah,
things.
man.
But he didn't make my list because I don't think, and this is just me, I don't think like he's made a profound influence on culture, let's say, of Mr. Rogers or Martin Luther King.
Here we go.
Well,
Okay.
I mean, that's your opinion.
So okay. Steve, any Facebook people have rated?
Well, a billion. So many people have been chiming in left and right with people, and so there were a couple that were on my list that I'm like, well, I'm going to throw these out there. A couple more actors, so I'll just 2 quick ones.
Are this from you or from the listeners?
From the listeners, but one of them was on my list.
Okay, good.
Chris Pratt.
Okay.
Who is probably more so than Denzel Washington, the most outspoken Christian I know in our culture right now.
Okay. All right.
Literally every time he can, he's talking about Jesus.
But has he
yes,
won
bro.
the Academy Award?
No, it doesn't matter. He's Star-Lord, and he's Owen from the Jurassic Park movies, and he's also Emmett from the Lego movie, and he's hilarious.
Yeah, I like Chris Pratt.
He
I think
won
he's quality.
So here's the thing. You're talking about impacting culture.
Yep.
The Academy Awards, to me, is not a cultural impact anymore. It is a
But
high
historically
five
it is.
historically, but it's a high five within
Right.
the industry. You know what he has won? He's won the Generation Award for MTV. By children voting him. He's won the People's Choice Awards. He's won awards literally everywhere else.
Yeah.
We're talking MTV, Nickelodeon, all these. And that might sound dumb because it's children, but he is impacting the next generation.
Okay, that's good. I agree. And I
Good
wrote,
call,
just
sir.
so you know, I put Chris Pratt down in my other notables But I still think Denzel Washington and James Stewart and Tom Hanks, because they have risen to the top
There's
of
an
their
actor
field.
that you haven't named that I think rose to the top-er than any of those actors you
Okay.
named. Are you ready for this?
Okay.
One of the first people I wrote down.
Go ahead.
Ronald Reagan.
Ooh.
Ronald Reagan. I have Ronald
Fight me on this.
I have Ronald
Okay.
Reagan, right? He didn't make my top 10, but he
was
is
an
in my
actor.
notable. But
He was an
Did he
actor.
win the Academy Award?
No, but he won the presidency,
That's true.
bro.
True. Yep, true. True that. Yep.
Yeah.
Hey, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
Tupac?
Yeah. Yeah. Dear
Yeah?
Mama. Uh-huh.
Tupac.
No.
Now, Tupac to me, I mean, obviously, he was a
influence?
fine lyricist, but his positive Christian influence was probably not that strong.
Pretty minimal.
No, man.
I would say Lecrae, who is still like top of the game, who's won multiple Grammys.
Yeah, Lecrae didn't make my list.
Kirk Franklin. People have chimed in with Kirk Franklin.
Kirk Franklin.
As far as like that hip hop culture.
Yeah, Kirk Franklin, it did make an impact, particularly, with what was it, Stomp?
KRS-One, who was just here actually at Sister Bar, and he had a whole breakdown of the science of hip hop. Hip meaning like to be in the know, to have knowledge, and hop to move, and talked about the Christ, and talked about rendering to Caesar what is Caesar's and to what is God.
Yep.
And I was just going, this dude is phenomenal.
Yeah, KRS-One, Kirk Franklin, all those guys are fabulous, but they still didn't make my 10 most. I mean, we're talking people who have excelled and made a huge impact on our culture.
Let's say one that literally everyone
Wait,
has...
it's my turn now.
It's your turn, Brian.
Yeah, okay,
Well,
so
we were on musicians,
We've
so I was
talked.
thinking-
We've talked Martin Luther King, Fred Rogers. Okay,
Ronald Reagan.
Yeah, you did. Okay, so here's one that I listed that you cannot deny: Billy Graham. Billy Graham obviously was the evangelist, but more so, he was the pastor, the president's pastor, and known for his support of world leaders through counsel and spiritual guidance. So he has impacted the culture. Take his funeral as an example. He got a national burial as a citizen. Not like John McCain, who was a senator or a politician. He got a national burial as a citizen. So would you guys disagree with me or argue about Billy Graham?
I'm with you, man.
No, he like when you asked us to start writing it, the very first name on my list is Billy Graham,
good.
and then you said
Then you agree.
outside of the church, and I was like,
No,
okay.
but they could be people within the
had so
church
many
who
number
have had an impact outside of the church, and he's one of those. So, okay, now go to your next one or go to a caller or...
Well, since we were talking musicians and
Okay.
like everyone chimed in with this musician, I figure we might as well just get to it. Bono.
I put Bono, too.
Everyone puts Bono.
I put Bono as well.
He was the second person I wrote down.
And he's won multiple Grammy Awards, so he's the highest of his field.
Yeah.
He's founder of One, a charitable organization, sold millions of records. So Bono was up there. Actually, Bono and Johnny Cash were my two big musicians I put up there.
Yeah.
Okay, so we all agree on Bono.
Yeah.
Bono should be on the list. Okay,
Yeah,
keep
absolutely.
going.
One for me that's on my list.
Yes.
Who you said 1968. This person died in 1973.
Okay.
Who was very influential to a point where, I mean, we mentioned a dude today who was heavily influenced by him. J.R.R. Tolkien. 1973,
That's
he
right.
passed away.
You're right.
So
you
he
are
is
right.
within the last
you are
50
exactly
years.
right. I put J.R. Tolkien, but not even thinking. I put him in a different. But I may, Steve-O, now have to exchange this person's name
Okay.
and put J.R. Tolkien.
Because honestly, immediately I wanted to put C.S. Lewis, but he died in
Yeah,
1963.
63, right.
So 5 years before.
That's right. No
but
question.
Tolkien
the
died in the 70s.
the greatest book of the 20th century.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And so, see, but you know who I'm talking about. You know what books he wrote.
You're
and
exactly
speaking
right.
Lord of the
influence-
Rings, dude.
Yeah. So no, Steve-O.
So
Steve-O.
as far as writers go,
Hey,
if we're
Steve-O.
talking last 50
The
years.
Hobbit.
Yeah.
Steve-O, you just
Anyone
made the point.
greater? Like
Yeah, you just made
Seriously.
the point. You just literally changed
changed Phoenix's
you changed my article.
I am crushing
You changed my article to J.R.R. Tolkien.
Yeah.
You're right. I forgot he died in the
1973.
early 70s.
Yep.
For some reason, obviously I knew C.S. Lewis in the early 60s, but I had J.R.R. Tolkien in mid 60s, but he died in the early 70s. You're so right. So J.R.R. Tolkien.
Yeah.
So good. Okay. What are our Facebook pals or listeners?
Here's one that somebody mentioned that jumped to the top for me, going, this person in music right now, somebody chimed in with Tyler Joseph. Tyler Joseph
Who's that?
is the lead singer and lyricist for 21 Pilots.
Ah.
Arguably the biggest band in the universe right now.
And they did win a Grammy.
Slightly. And so I couldn't argue with that if I tried, because literally he is one of the most thoughtful lyricists of this modern time.
Yeah, that's a great case.
What's up with
That's a
jumpsuits?
great case. I mean, even though his name is not as familiar to me, I know 21 Pilots.
Right.
I know 21 Pilots. And they're a great group.
Yeah.
You know, the two of them.
But they make you think. It's way deeper than just talking about impacting culture.
That's a good one. Whoever chimed on there, good for you. That's a good one.
Really good
It didn't
one.
make my list, but that is a great case. So Dex, it's your turn now.
My turn?
Yeah. Who else did you think of when it came up?
Who's that, Brian?
Okay. Yeah.
Who is that? Who is that?
You're not necessarily wrong.
Come on, bro.
That's the Biebs, yo. That's Justin Bieber.
Justin Bieber, come on.
Go ahead, fight him.
Loves the Lord.
I'm
going
to fight him.
Loves the Lord. Loves the Lord, man.
Yeah, no, Justin Bieber is incredibly talented.
And he loves the Lord.
And he loves the Lord.
And he's trying to have a huge impact.
And he's
he
he's
turned his
popular.
life around, all right?
Okay, that's great. But here's my thing. Has he risen to the top in his field? Sure, he sold millions of records. He's very popular. He's a celebrity.
Maybe not
But has he won
yet.
Grammys?
Not
And he's
quite.
well respected across his field. That's why. Now turn around, Dex.
Yeah.
I just want you to see. I did put Justin Bieber in this little list right there. Where is he? Right there. Justin Bieber.
Ooh, I saw one on your list that I agree with.
So Justin Bieber kind of made it, but he didn't make my top 10. So anyone, do we have a caller or another person chiming in before it's my turn?
You guys can call us 505-338-3700.
Okay. So far I've listed in my top 5 have been Martin Luther King, Fred Rogers, Billy Graham, Bono, which someone else said. My 5th one is Mother Teresa.
Ooh.
Yep. So many people were chiming in with that one, and I was going, man.
I mean,
did she make an impact on our culture or just globally? Because I wish American culture cared more.
But look how
Seriously.
Princess Diana.
I know.
I mean,
No,
she
you're
affected so many people.
Yeah.
I mean, so many people left to go work with her and to learn from her. So to not put Mother Teresa in the top 10 is crazy. Now, if someone a little bit unfamiliar to our current generation, but Albert Schweitzer, the guy who was the generation before Mother Teresa, he died in 1965.
Yeah.
But he was like the Mother Teresa of the generations before us, the guy that left everything and moved to Africa to help the least and less fortunate. But Mother Teresa, in the last 50 years, you have to put her on there.
Yeah. Somebody chimed in and said they would argue that this band has impacted culture more than 21 Pilots even. So they would say on their list, John Foreman.
Who's that?
Lead singer of Switchfoot.
Oh, right. That's
John
right.
Foreman?
That's right.
John Foreman?
Yeah. No, I just kidding. I knew who John Foreman was. Yeah, but here's the thing. John Foreman, and John, if you're listening, you're a fabulous songwriter. You're an amazing human being.
Yeah.
You are just great. But as far as the broad impact, to put him on the level of, let's say, a Johnny Cash, a Bono, or a Bob Dylan, all who have had an enormous impact as believers, I wouldn't put him at that level. So though I appreciate John Foreman, I don't think he elevated to the level of the other guys. That's why he didn't make my list.
Okay. See, he's on mine.
He's on.
Okay.
He's on mine. Oh, okay.
Here's another one.
Go ahead, caller.
Elvis Presley?
He died in 1979.
Yeah. Elvis Presley.
No, he died in 77.
77.
And one of the only Grammy award he ever won was for his gospel.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Good point. Yeah, Elvis Presley. You know, I thought of Elvis Presley on several levels, and this caller's so spot on that he did win a Grammy for his gospel record.
Yeah.
But I don't know. You correct me if I'm wrong, guys. Other than his gospel music, was there a witness for Christ in his life or his speech? Like, let's say a Johnny Cash or a Bono or a Mr. Rogers or Martin Luther King or a Mother Teresa. Yeah. I don't know.
I mean, I know
don't know
him because of his gospel music, but
yeah, go ahead.
He had a circle of, well, I mean, he didn't leave his circle of friends, but I mean, he studied the Bible and he would preach it to them by golden
Oh, that's
crosses
good to
and stuff.
know.
I know that doesn't mean anything.
No,
but,
it does definitely means something, because a guy that we've both said that is on our list, Johnny Cash, was heavily influenced by Elvis Presley because they began together, and so
Sun
I would
Studios.
say he still had an impact on culture, even vicariously through Johnny Cash. But we're talking about Elvis Presley, like this is the king of rock and roll,
right?
So yeah, absolutely.
Thanks,
man. I wouldn't. Disagree with that.
That's great. So that's a good one. And I did think of Elvis. You go, boy, what about Elvis? But I didn't put him on my top 10 just because I didn't know his broader, witness to other people. But that's good to hear from this fella. Okay, Steve, we're back to you.
Oh gosh, back to me. Now this one isn't a notable though, so I'm like, we have so many other people chime in.
Okay, well, we'll get to them in a minute.
Because a lot of mine, let's see, I've already said almost all of mine just because they've been coming in through the live line. So I had Denzel, Bono, Johnny Cash, Tolkien, Ronald Reagan, Fred Rogers, Chris Pratt. And here's one that wouldn't be, quote, top 10, but I can't think of another director.
Okay.
As we're talking about all aspects of like art and culture,
Yep.
There's a man, and I'll say his name, and you guys won't even know who I'm talking about. His name's Scott Derrickson.
I know Scott Derrickson.
Okay. Scott Derrickson.
X-Men, right?
No.
Oh.
That's Bryan Singer.
Oh, okay.
Scott Derrickson did direct a superhero movie, though.
Oh, I knew it was some superhero movie.
Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange, that's
before
it.
that, though, he was heavily in the horror genre.
Right.
Exorcism of Emily Rose.
Isn't he the guy that went to Biola University?
Yes. Yeah.
Right.
So he is directed mostly in the horror genre. Deliver Us from Evil, Exorcism of Emily Rose, Sinister, a lot of, horror type films, but he is one of the most outspoken Christians in our culture because he talks about this every single time he's given a platform. He had a great interview in Relevant Magazine and talks about the reason why he bent to the horror genre is because you can do things within that genre that you can't elsewhere, and there's always the darkness and the light.
Right.
And
I've read interviews through him, and he's a deep thinker, and I really appreciate him.
Thinker.
I
Yeah.
appreciate him.
So he's on my
Okay,
list.
Steve-O, I'm going to put him on my all-star list that goes below.
Okay.
I don't know, because you've made a great case. I don't know if I'd still put him in my top 10 yet.
Yeah.
Maybe another 10 years when he wins Oscar and all that. Then
but
you
I don't
go,
know that he'll ever be
Well, you
out
don't-
of the genre
you
that you know
don't
what
know.
I mean.
You don't
We
know.
Because
I mean, everyone thought Steven Spielberg was going to be just action adventure, and then he did Schindler's List.
And speaking of directors, multiple people actually have chimed in with this name, and we haven't mentioned him yet, and I don't know why. Mel Gibson.
I have Mel Gibson down here on this list.
Because Mel,
but you think more of a negative impact or positive though?
Braveheart, Passion of the Christ.
I get that.
Yeah.
But still,
Yep, huge. He's won Academy
his
Awards.
life hasn't really been.
I would disagree.
Really?
Yeah, because of course he's had that chaos, that turmoil, and yet I see a dude who's still around, who's like coming back, and who's preparing to do the sequel to Passion of the Christ, and it's going to be interesting to see how it lands because of where we're at in our culture as far as forgiveness and reconciliation and repentance, and I think he has made a profound impact. Passion of the Christ changed the game as far as Christians and the film world.
Good.
Seriously.
Okay, good. I agree. Okay, so Dex, your turn now. Your turn. Who else do you think?
No.
Well, I did write down, and somebody else on Facebook as well wrote these. I lumped them together because they play on the same team.
Yep.
Okay, they're teammates. They play for the Golden State Warriors. It's KD and Steph, and they love the Lord.
And they've
have a
won their
huge impact.
championships.
Yep.
Oh, man. I'm going to add them to my lower list.
Yeah.
You're right. I don't know, again, if I would put them in the top 10 of, culture changers, but, man, have they made a huge impact.
Yeah.
They've won championships. They've excelled in their field.
Yeah. Yep.
No question.
Well, okay, sports genre. We've had a few people chime in with this one, too. Tony Dungy.
Okay, Tony Dungy. He's won the Super Bowl.
He's won the Super Bowl.
He's won the Super Bowl.
First African-American coach to do so in the history of the NFL.
Good
he
point.
Is very outspoken. Him and his wife were just on our show a few weeks ago talking about their new children's books. So they're still within culture trying to transform that next generation. And he's always been a leader for young men with his coaching style. So, yeah, I would say him.
I may have to expand my list to 12 because you guys are making some great cases about Tony Dungy, KD, and Steph Curry. These guys are making profound impacts, not only in their given field, they've excelled. I mean, Tony Dungy won the Super Bowl. KD and Steph have both won multiple NBA championships, and they've made a great case. Okay, so guys, my turn.
Okay.
Argue on this one. Now, he may not be familiar to most of our listeners, but what he accomplished is so phenomenal.
Lay it on us, bro.
Francis Collins.
Ooh, Francis.
So Francis Collins, the leader of the Human Genome Project, that was the largest scientific research group that studied the DNA and sequenced our nucleotide.
Wow.
So he's the guy that did this. And now he's the director of the National Institute of Health. And he is an outspoken Christian.
Yeah.
He's written books on his Christian faith.
The language of God.
The language of God and others. So he has excelled in his area, which is science, and is a known leader. And I put him on my top 10 because most people don't think of scientists. We write them off automatically, but I think it's important for Christians to go, you know what? There are Christians in every field that have made immense impact on the culture. And Francis Collins' work with the Human Genome Project, we're still using his research right now, currently, to understand our DNA. So he is, in my group, very important. Would you guys agree or disagree?
No, everything you said, I can get down with.
Yeah, what's interesting is he's been in the news recently because Francis Collins, the director of the National Institute of Health, was on Sacha Baron Cohen's new series.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's
got
basically
punked?
no. That's why he's in the news, because just about everybody else, it was like, let's get these right-wing leaders to talk about children with guns and all these things, and he tried to prank Francis Collins, and science won. Like it didn't work.
Wow.
Like to a point where it was like,
Did they air it? Did they air that one?
This one's not really funny. So
Yeah.
basically, he's got a show called Who is America, and he convinced a sitting member of Congress to endorse a program to arm toddlers for self-defense.
Yeah, I actually listened to that
He convinced a Georgia state lawmaker to take his pants off at a hypothetical ISIS attacker.
Not Francis Collins.
No,
this other guy. I see.
These are all these other lawmakers that he conned, basically, that he tricked.
I
Because,
see.
with these prosthetics and heavy makeup. But this man, I guess, is known for being kind and even killed, and he wasn't baited into any of the gaffes. He just politely smiled, nodded, and lectured his way through an hour of Sacha Baron Cohen trying to get him to bend on certain things. But yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
That's
That's a good update. I was unfamiliar with that. But Francis Collins, so what are some of our listeners now? That's back to you guys and our listeners. Who else? Who are we missing?
Go ahead. Who are we missing?
I'm going to throw out Shawn Michaels.
Oh, yeah!
Shawn Michaels.
Who's Shawn Michaels?
Shawn Michaels, WWE superstar. Hello.
Who?
He's one of the Rockers, like one of the greatest tag teams of all time.
Yeah, go ahead.
Four-time world champion. Two-time Rumble winner. 2000 Hall of Fame inductee.
You're bummed.
He is professed Christian. Has known as Mr. WrestleMania. Think of the professional wrestling following.
Dude, HBK, the Heartbreak Kid.
The guy's in love.
Yeah.
He is the Heartbreak Kid.
The Heartbreak
But
Kid.
if you take out his professional wrestling character, the man has so much influence through the professional wrestling industry as Shawn Michaels, just himself, being a Christian, so much so that the WWE, known for like steel cage matches and people bashing chairs over each other's head, they sponsored a Christian movie starring Shawn Michaels, multiple ones actually.
Yeah.
Like WWE Films has made Christian movies. They also did a storyline with Shawn Michaels near retirement.
Okay. I'm not yet convinced because, for one, not because I'm the litmus test, but I would say if you go up to someone in the broader culture and said, "Have you heard of Martin Luther King Jr., Mr. Rogers, or Sean Johns?" Who you just said is that his name?
Shawn Michaels.
Shawn Michaels. I would dare say, in the broader impact of things, a Martin Luther King Jr., a Fred Rogers, a Billy Graham, Mother Teresa still have made a greater impact on our culture than this
Heartbreak
boxer.
Is
he a boxer or a wrestler?
No, wrestler, bro.
Oh, he's a wrestler.
He's been on the morning show, and I agree with you, caller. I agree with you.
You guys in love?
I am.
No, but
He's part of Generation X. And
I think he's made a great case for a guy that I could put
Sweet
on
chin
this
music,
other
bro.
list.
Sweet
but
chin
that
music.
okay. So guys, we only have a couple more minutes, but let me throw this name out.
Throw it out.
Let me see if you guys would agree with me.
Lay it on us,
So I
bro.
threw out Francis Collins. Here's another guy out of the ordinary, but I think he's made an incredible contribution. Ben Carson.
Ooh, Ben Carson.
So he was a leading Christian doctor. He's one of the first neurosurgeons to perform a surgery on conjoined twins. Obviously, later became a presidential candidate. And would you not say that he has made both medically and politically an impact on our culture? Would you agree with that?
No.
Okay. Tell
but
me
here's
why.
why, because we're talking about an impact on our culture, and most people just know him as like the really soft guy that tried out for the presidency and was terrible.
But you don't care about that he
Didn't even know that
I
stuff.
didn't even know all
You
the
didn't
medical
even
stuff.
know that
No.
he did the first separation of conjoined twins.
Don't get me
That now-
wrong. When he
that
first
now
jumped
people
in, I
practice,
was like following him on Twitter going, this guy's my president.
But so you don't think that what the research and
we're
surgery
ignorant.
that
Hold on,
he
Brian.
did?
We're ignorant.
Yes.
We just
Seth,
don't know.
Seth said he's a Seventh-day Adventist, not a Christian. Is that true?
Well, he is a Seventh-day Adventist, and though you would not say it's a complete cult, there are some people that would say it has cult-like tendencies. But he still professes Christ, which again was the basis of the criteria.
Dave Goodman. Here's a good one from a member of the Starmy.
'Kay.
Dave Ramsey.
Ooh, that's a
Dude,
really good
you
one.
know
actually.
what?
Oh,
Yeah.
Dave Ramsey, the
I will tell you
financial
right
guy.
now, that would go on my top 10 list.
Okay, that's
because
good.
he has helped people. He has helped people. Not just with their finances, but looking at it biblically speaking as to why we should care about our finances, and hopefully has transformed this next generation to care about not being in debt.
Good.
Like really,
So
that's a good one.
Steve O'Dex,
Yeah.
our listeners, thank you first of all
That
for
was fun.
participating. A lot of people participated, but I must admit, Steve-O, you did cause me to change one of my top 10.
Thank you.
Look at you.
I'm
man. It's so
moving
great.
J.R.R. Tolkien up to my writer because his impact has far surpassed any other writers of the 20th century.
I did my job. That's all I needed to do today.
I also
Please stop talking.
I also listed Tim Keller, but now I may put Tony Dungy and as my guy up there because his impact as a sports leader is very good. So
You forgot Dex and Steve-O from the Morning Invasion
Yeah.
on your radio list.
Yeah.
So we made an impact on tens of
But by
people.
and large, my list has not changed. Martin Luther King, Fred Rogers, Billy Graham, either Bono or Johnny Cash, Mother Teresa, Denzel Washington,
Beautiful.
Francis Collins.
Beautiful.
Now let's say J.R.R. Tolkien,
Beautiful.
and let's say Tony Dungy. What do you think?
You forgot,
love it, man.
You forgot Ronald Reagan. Greatest
I
American.
have him on some of
Greatest
my lists.
American
What about
of all
Ted
time.
Nugent?
All these other guys have made my list on a certain way, but not
He
my
made a
top
list,
10.
guys. He made a list.
There it is.
All right, Brian.
So there we have it.
Thank you so much.
good list.
Thank you, guys.
3 Degrees. If you missed
3
it, go
Degrees.
back. Facebook, YouTube, iTunes after the show. We got to take a break, guys. We'll be right back.
All right, bye.
Hi, I'm Todd Nettleton, and this is the Voice of the Martyrs Radio. Though India is predominantly Hindu, Anaram was a staunch Buddhist before Jesus called him. He soon planted a thriving church and led a congregation in a section of the family home that he shared with his brother. But word spread and villagers began resisting Anaram, including his own brother, who demanded that Anaram and his family leave. He then demolished the section of the house where Anaram lived. Anaram and his family now take shelter under a tarp on their farmland. Pray they'll find a new home and that they're strengthened by God's compassion to respond to their persecutors with love and forgiveness.
I will not let my brothers and sisters suffer in silence, nor will I let them serve alone. To join me in prayer for persecuted Christians, go to VOMradio.net.
Pastor Jack Graham and a Star 88 Supernova.
So much strife in our life today. Argumentation and anger and frustration and irritation. And often we bring that stuff home. And often our words reflect the stress of the pressure cooker in which many of us live, and we go home and unload on the people that we care about the most, using our words as weapons rather than winsome and loving expressions. We ought to encourage one another. Proverbs 12:25 says, anxiety in the heart of a man causes depression, but a good word makes it glad. Sometimes when a person is down, maybe your wife, your husband, it's the right word, the good word that lifts the spirits.
Catch Pastor Jack Graham, PowerPoint, broadcast weekdays at 10:30 a.m. on our sister station, KNKT. This is KLYT, Albuquerque, Santa Fe, Star 88, New Mexico's fresh alternative.
I've got things that I thought would fill my heart up, sitting on top, winning, but that ain't winning. I've chased all the good stuff, all the bad stuff, stuff the world calls living, but that ain't living. Hey, hey, don't really matter what I do. Hey, hey, don't mean nothing without you. I don't wanna have it all, write my story any way I want. Everything will just fall apart if you waited, if you waited. I don't wanna give my way, no, I don't wanna run this thing, 'cause I know it all ends the same if you waited, if you waited. If you waited. I want all that you want, all that you got, point my heart towards you. I want you to. Hey, hey, nothing else is gonna matter. Hey, hey, if you're not what I'm after. I don't wanna have it all, write my story any way I want. Everything will just fall apart if you waited, if you waited. I don't wanna give my way, no, I don't wanna run this thing, 'cause I know it all ends the same if you waited, if you waited. If you waited. Here is my confession, I'm a man of imperfection, and my heart can go off chasing empty things. But you keep running toward me, yeah, 'cause you know what's best for me, and you know you are the only one I need. Oh, I don't wanna have it all. I don't wanna have it all. I don't wanna have it all, write my story any way I want. Everything will just fall apart if you waited, if you waited. I don't wanna give my way, no, I don't wanna run this thing, 'cause I know it all ends the same if you waited, if you waited. If you waited. If you waited. If you
And we're back. We are back!
The Morning Invasion.
Come on, sleepyhead. Time to wake up.
You know what I love about today? If you live in the 505, the rain. Just the rain, man. It's coming down today. Love it. Live from the Dreamstyle Remodeling Star 88 Studios. Good morning. Thanks for joining us. Hanging out live on Facebook and YouTube at Star 88 FM. And thanks again to our boy Brian Nixon coming in, throwing down 3 degrees every Thursday. Hey, don't forget, you guys can send handwritten letters. You can type them.
Yeah.
Just send a letter to us, and we'll read it during 3 degrees on Thursdays. I know he gets super pumped when people write letters. That means we get to write one back. We'll type up a letter and send it back to you. So 4001 Osuna Road Northeast. Just Google Calvary Albuquerque. You'll get the address. But send us a letter. Coming up at 9, we believe Shock Therapy Live is going down. Pastor Nate Heitzig. So that means you guys can get your questions in. If you guys are dealing with something in your life, you're struggling, you got the struggles, you need some good advice, some good biblical advice, then send in your questions, man. You can text them in, email studio@star88.fm, Facebook, call us. Definitely prefer you call us, and you can be completely anonymous. That starts at 9. We'll do an hour with Pastor Nate and his wife, Janae, usually joins us as well. So we get the female aspect. So, yeah, excited for a big Thursday. Thursdays are fun. All right, did you know it's not your fault that you're lazy?
Of course you would find this study.
Science tells me so.
Uh-huh, sure.
It does.
Yeah.
It's a study that just came out. This is from a study by evolutionary biologists from the University of British Columbia in Canada.
Okay.
They said it turns out we're all hardwired to be lazy. We're all hardwired to be lazy. So when you do get motivated to do stuff, your brain has to work extra hard and use lots of energy to overcome human nature. So why are we built to be lazy? Because it helps our bodies save energy. And for ancient humans, that was a big advantage because it meant you could use your extra energy for hunting and survival. Now, from an evolutionary standpoint, I get that. I totally get what they're saying. But do you think we're all hardwired to be lazy? Do you think that just goes along with the sin nature? Because laziness is sin, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So are we then all hardwired to be lazy?
I don't know that I agree with that.
Or you think it's different levels? Because why is it that some people... Do you think that, you know, the type of people I'm talking about that are very motivated?
Yeah.
And every day they wake up and like The Rock. I take The Rock, for instance.
Yeah.
He seems like a different breed of human, right? Or is he? Or is it just the fact that he pushed himself to be successful? And he's doing, the guy wakes up, he barely sleeps. He sleeps like 3 or 4 hours a night. And he's constantly working towards success.
Kobe Bryant.
Another good
I just
example.
read this article and I was absolutely blown away by his work ethic. After 20 seasons, go Lakers, and 5 NBA championships, he retired from basketball, right? 2016. He's 40 years old, man. 40 years old. And he still wakes up before the sun to go to the gym at 4 a.m.
Yeah.
every single day to push himself.
And I could almost guarantee you with Kobe and even The Rock, even those successful people, that they wake up and probably don't want to do it.
Right,
There's that lazy mentality that we all have.
He said like he didn't have an end goal anymore. There was no like MVP award or NBA championship award. So it's like, why are you still doing this? And he said it was just something to aim for. He needed a goal in his life. He wanted to continue because he said when he first retired, he kind of let himself go for a minute. And then he challenged himself like, can I get back into top physical form? I want to be in shape. But without that NBA season to kind of like push him along, it was hard for him. So he wanted to aim for a size or bulk or something tangible. And so, yeah, he wakes up and he's at the gym every day at 4 a.m. still.
Wow.
Retired NBA superstar.
Yeah.
And so I don't think necessarily everyone's hardwired to be lazy. Because Mark says he disagrees because he loves working hard. And I know for me, there's certain areas in my life where I do love working hard. I could be exhausted, but when it comes to building something or crafting something or landscaping the backyard, doing things like that, I get pumped and I want to be out there before the sun. And the boys, of course, are like, oh, and I'm like, today we're going to hit it hard and we're going to do this. And so I think there's proper motivation. I don't think it's ingrained in us to be lazy. On the flip side, I think as men, from my perspective, I think we are hardwired to work because that's the curse. That's what we've been given from the beginning. And so as someone who's created in the image of God, God was a very creative dude. He crafted and created all of this. So I think that's why when I build something or when I do something, I'm like, I am creating. It's like imago Deo, in the image of God. Like, I am doing something. I am constructing and creating and crafting something. Therefore, it drives me to work hard.
Yeah.
And I get stoked on that. Because I'll tell you what, I would love to just sit back and play video games and be lazy all day.
See, and that's where I'm coming from. It's I'm in the camp that says that we are all lazy.
Yeah.
But when we go the opposite direction, other than lazy, when we put in the work and the time, when we don't want to, we want to be lazy, you feel that way.
Yeah.
As a man, even as a woman, you feel like, oh my gosh, I just accomplished something. It's almost like when I go for a run every day. I don't want to go for a run.
Yeah.
It's been so hard. But if I make myself go, and after I'm done with 4 or 5 miles, I seriously feel so much better. I feel like, man, I accomplished something.
Mm-hmm.
I'm healthier. Hopefully, not gonna have a heart attack at 45 now. There's just so many different things that you can be proud of when you put that work in. But I think almost everybody has that laziness in them. That's why there's different levels of success.
Yeah.
Some people can make it happen. Some people can't. I don't know. Depends on how much time you put into it.
But I think for me, because I was very entitled and lazy, I think it's because of my upbringing. My mom spoiled and sheltered me. I had to motivate myself to push to be who I am today.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it was hard.
So
because
it was harder for you.
It was
than
hard.
some people.
Dude, it was very hard. But I don't think it's because I was hardwired that way. I definitely think it was because of the way I was brought up. So I think that could be it too, because you look at the Kobe Bryants of the world who are still up at 4 a.m. and maybe it's not laziness, maybe it's boredom, because I was reading another story this morning about Slash, guitar player for Guns N' Roses, who was thanking God that he's alive today because he was in a very successful rock band, and he said he started getting bored. Like, he didn't wake up one day and be like, you know what I want to be? A strung out drug addict watching all my friends die around me. But he became that self-destructive partying person because of boredom. Like, not laziness. They'd work really hard on the road, but then in between shows, they'd have a day off. And so he's just like, when the tour was over and they were off the road, he just didn't know what to do with himself. So he just recreationally started doing cocaine because he was bored. And then it became a thing where it was in between shows, and then it was after shows, and then it was before he went to bed, and then it was, and he's been clean since 2006. Which is incredible. 12 years that dude's been clean. But it was boredom, not laziness. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think, I do think we're wired different. I don't think it's like the humanity of it, because some of us, it could be our upbringing.
Yeah,
it could be our surroundings.
Well, if you look at addiction, why are some people hardwired to be addicted to drugs? You could call it a disease. Some people call it a disease.
Yeah.
Why is it that my family member or friend over here struggled with drugs and has an addiction when I'm not talking about me personally, but this other person has done drugs but has never got addicted. Never struggled with it.
Yeah.
Is it because they're just hardwired differently?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know, because I hear you. I had friends on both sides where it was like hard addictions, and then other friends who recreationally did stupid things, but it was like, yeah, I'm good. I'm like, what?
I had this conversation with my mom the other day about my brother, and I hope you're listening, Mike, because my brother's just different than me. Like, my brother and I are complete opposites, and you usually see that with even your children, right? All three of them are different. All three of my kids are completely different. My brother, from the time he came out of my mom's womb, like, he has been trouble. He's always had this something hardwired in him where he would throw fits, he would freak out, he would just, get into fights since he was a baby. He's always, till now, he's 40 years old, and he's still doing the same thing. Me, I'm not hardwired that way. I'm completely different. I don't like to fight. I don't like confrontation.
Yeah.
I never threw fits when I was little. I didn't even want to be held when I was little. I never cried, but my brother was hardwired differently than me from the time he was a baby. So that's why I think that maybe we can be. Some people can be hardwired
Well, I
differently.
think, and a lot of people are chiming in, agreeing with the study, saying, hey, it's saying that we're all hardwired to be lazy. And so it's hard for you, which is why it was hard for me. Maybe it wasn't my social construct. It was that I was hardwired, because they're saying, you're looking right past the point, Steve-O. You are hardwired before you're brought up. So I'm with Dex and your idea that, yeah, we are all hardwired to be lazy. So it's not our fault.
Right. And maybe it does take, because this kid grew up with parents that were super encouraging and made their kids go out and get a job or do chores, and maybe that in turn makes it easier later in life for them to accomplish things. It's not as hard as some people that grew up in a house that didn't have parents that pushed them. They could play video games all day, or they could sleep and not do anything.
Well, see, but somebody says my mom is up every day at the break of dawn and cannot stand sitting still. She doesn't even have a job. Like, it's just up. Gotta work because you want to. I don't know. Oh, man.
Yeah,
Again?
Brooke, we probably need to
Dang
stop
it.
what we're talking about, because breaking news, multiple victims reported in shooting in Harford County, Maryland. This is what was just tweeted out. So, guys, be praying.
Just came across the wire.
Yeah, I guess it took place near a business park in Perryman, a small town less than 30 miles northeast of Baltimore. So that's all the details we have. But, guys, be praying for that situation.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Right? That's the worst.
Yeah. Again.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
But we're talking about this this study that they did, and they're saying that it turns out we're all hardwired to be lazy. What are your thoughts on that, Starmy? Go ahead.
Hey, morning, fellas.
Hey, what's going on?
Just
man?
just wanted to comment on the bit you guys are doing right now about being hardwired lazy and stuff.
Yeah.
I have a different opinion about that. I think, the Bible tells us that we're born into a sin nature, so naturally we want to be lazy and slothful and not really do anything. But I think it comes down to choices as you get older. You just choose not to be. And I can just use myself as an example. Broken home, single mom, brought up, kicked out when I was 14. Raised the rest of the time by my grandparents, did my own thing in the world, but I still made a choice to graduate high school, went to the military, became employed with the federal government, and now I'm starting my own business. So I think it just ultimately comes down to an individual choice of what you want to do with your life.
Yeah.
That's good, man.
Yeah, great thought.
Yeah, good stuff, dude.
Thanks for calling.
All right, no problem.
Later, buddy. 505-338-3700 if you'd like to call into the show. Thoughts on being lazy. Are you hardwired that way?
It does make sense, especially when you take it from a biblical perspective of the sin nature, how we're born into sin. And, yeah, man, that slothfulness, that laziness, that's definitely, man. Like, okay, yesterday, for example, man, I went home. I have not been feeling well. I've been trying to kick this, and I just can't seem to. I went home and I had so many things that I was going to do and sat down and then ended up sleeping for like 4 hours. You know, seriously, because, and maybe it's not laziness. Maybe I'm just sick or I'm just drained, worn out, whatever it is.
Sick,
but
man,
yeah,
sick.
Very. So it's definitely in there. Like the idea that, yeah, but I could just not.
Yeah.
I really could just not.
Yeah, because you know what? If you can push past that whole thing, I mean, when you're sick, it's a little bit different because honestly, when you're sick, you should do nothing.
Yeah.
Like you don't want to push your
which
body.
is funny because I'm not that way. Like if I'm sick, you always get mad. Like I had texted you and Daniel, like, guys, fever of 102.
you're so frustrating.
Fever 102. What should I do? And you're like, stay away from me.
And
I'm
I
like,
dodged
but
the
I want.
bullet
I was
on
so
that
mad because I'm like, but I want to go to work. I don't like.
Yeah,
I don't
but then you're
like
gonna get
not
everybody else
working.
sick, man.
I know,
and that's the
And
problem.
I stayed
it's
home
very selfish. All right,
for a day.
But yeah, I think that if you can push past the laziness, it gets easier. I think we're always going to have that, no matter what. I think there's always going to be that desire to be lazy, but it can be easier if we push past it because we know that, hey, on the other side of getting this done, accomplishing this, or working out, we're going to feel better. We're going to feel like we did something. And there's nothing better than looking at something that you built or just, getting done with a hard workout. I think that feeling is just, gosh, man, it just makes you so motivated and encourages you.
Yeah.
Especially if you see results in your life and things start paying off. You start to see, man, I got that job that I've always wanted, or man, the money, it's starting to come in, or look, I've been single for so long, and now look, God brought this amazing person into my life, and it's because I didn't give up. I didn't just stay home and binge watch Netflix all day or sleep. It's because I actually went out and did something. I pushed past the laziness.
See, Jay Marie says, I don't agree that we're hardwired to be lazy. I do think sin convinces us to choose the easy way. Jesus spoke so many times about the wide road, the narrow road. Like the caller says, it's all about those good choices that we make.
Yeah.
That's a good thought, too.
That's good.
I like it, y'all.
Yeah,
I like it.
You guys can hit us up, Facebook or YouTube Live.
Jake texted into the show and said, I really wanted to chime on this, but I'm too lazy.
See, man, push past it. Just go ahead. Keep texting.
And the thing is, you got to keep going at it. Again, going back to this article about Slash, a guitar player from Guns N' Roses, he talks about the fact that with anything, for him, of course, it was drug addiction. But he said, I don't think there's a thing called sober for good, right? Like you don't just all of a sudden you're like, well, I did it, right? And I think sometimes we can rest on our laurels. We complete something, we accomplish something, we're like, whoo, done. But the work's never done. And he talked about the fact that you're always practicing, for him, sobriety for as long as you possibly can. Like you can never rest. You can never give up on that because that's the goal, to stay sober. And so I do think it comes down to those choices again.
Right.
You have to choose every day. I mean, that goes for relationships. That's for many areas of our life.
Yeah.
So
you know what? I'm down with I think we are hardwired. I think everybody's different, though.
Yeah, because Rosalind says, I think in some ways I'm definitely lazy. I know I can work my way up the career ladder, but I choose not to. I love my job, and moving up just means more stress. I'd rather not. So I choose the easy road, and I excel at that. Yeah.
If that's what you want, right? That's what you want. I've always kind of said this in my radio career is I never wanted to be a program director or in charge of like the radio department because it's too much. I just want to focus on doing a morning show because that's what I love to do. And I don't want all these other things that have to go with radio to be included in my life because I don't want it. I don't think it's laziness. It's just like, doesn't seem fun to me. I think it would probably make me not want to do radio anymore.
Somebody said, all this coming from two guys that don't do anything all day. Just kidding. Love you, lazy little guys.
Yeah, you'd think that, but not true.
Right?
And that's what's tough is there's this mentality that just because you love what you do, it's not work. And that is so false.
Well, and here's another thing. Scripture talks about this opposite side. We're talking about how we're like ingrained in laziness, but one scripture that I constantly have to go back to is Psalm 23 as we talk about like not doing stuff all day. Scripture says that he makes me lie down beside still waters, like meaning that we can drive ourselves. Like when I'm driven, I will burn out. I will burn so bright until I'm so toast, I have nothing to offer anyone. And there are times when I have to force myself to rest. Like when I was sick and you made me stay home.
I broke his leg.
I was so mad. I was so mad because I just wanted to go to work. But so I wonder, like, is that a choice or is that hardwired in me? Because as some are saying they're wired that way to be lazy, I'm like opposite to where there are a lot of times where I'm told to like slow down or stop because I'm going to burn out.
Yeah.
So, man, I don't know.
Hey, go ahead. What do you think?
First time caller, by the way.
Hey,
yeah.
Right on.
Thanks for joining us.
So, not a problem. So I go more on the aspect if it's more of like an addiction. Just like everything, if it's in motion, it stays in motion. If it's at rest, it stays at rest. I think people that have maybe not so much an addictive personality, but like to see progress. Once they start doing something, they like to see how that happens, what's coming of it, and they keep going for it. It's like with me, if I don't go to the gym just about every day, then I'll start not going to the gym. Like I'll go for like 3 months, and if I stop for like a week, I'm just not motivated to go. So it's more of an addictive thing. Maybe not so much like it's hardwired. You and that's kind of where the stay or be lazy or get out and go do something.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. I'm just like you, man. The 3 month curse. It's like if at 3 months for some reason my brain shuts off and it's like, you know what? I don't want you to work out anymore.
You're
like
still running all the time.
I know, but I had to push through it. That's my whole thing is that 3 month curse came in and I was like, oh my gosh, I don't want to. I want to be lazy and I don't want to work out anymore. But I made myself. I'm still every day making myself.
And that's how I was. I was 6 months strong. I was at C&M. I went to Fireline Fitness, and I was just slamming out for 6 months, and I was good to go. And then I stopped because of schoolwork or whatever, and that was my, get out of free, not working out card. And I was sedentary for a good another 6 months. Now I just finally got back into it, and it feels a lot better being in motion than being lazy.
Do you think too? Because I had this is what I was thinking about yesterday. I was running because I run the same, way every day. I go on the same run and I get really bored of the run because it's the same route I take every day, right? But I kept thinking that's actually a good thing because that is mentally, if I can continue to keep doing this, that's going to mentally strengthen, myself. It's going to strengthen me mentally because if you're doing the same thing and you can overcome that instead of just giving up, I think that's huge, right?
Yeah, and what you could do is, you have the same run every single day. You get tired of it, go another block, and that's your progression. And that's probably what you want to see as a progression. So you go one more block for another week, and then another block another week, and all of a sudden you're running 25 miles, and you're good to go.
Wow. Yeah, no kidding, right? I don't know. Maybe someday. All right, buddy.
All right, well,
hey, thanks for calling, man. We'll see you.
Somebody said I agree with that caller. It's about consistent repetition of what we choose. Clopas chimed in and said, I don't know that we're hardwired to be lazy. I think we're created to enjoy rest, to need rest. I think we often amplify our need for rest, and that turns into laziness. That's a good thought, too.
That's good. I like that.
Because we are told we do have to. God himself, right? Seventh day, it's like, boo, chill, bro. Take a break.
Even God.
Everybody take a. We need rest, and we're created to enjoy rest. I agree with that. But we amplify that need and turn that into laziness.
Mm-hmm.
That's a good thought, man.
Lots of good stuff, guys.
A lot of people trying to
good stuff.
Yeah.
All right, we got to take a quick break. Don't forget, Shock Therapy Live coming up at 9, so you guys can get your questions in. Of course, you can call us. You can be anonymous if you're struggling with something in your life. That's what Shock Therapy Live is all about. We'll tackle it together. We're live from the Dream Style Remodeling Star 88 Studios. We'll be right back.
When we gather around the name of Jesus, everything changes. So come lift up the name of Jesus with us at Passion Worship Nights. Hosted by Passion and Louis Giglio with Travis Green, plus Levi Lusko and Trip Lee. Friday night, October the 5th. A powerful night of worship at Calvary Church, Albuquerque. Passion Worship Nights. A night for all ages. Friday night, October the 5th. Join Passion with Louis Giglio, Travis Green, Levi Lusko, and Trip Lee as we come together to lift up the name of Jesus. Tickets and information are at passionmusic.com. Produced by Fill the Gap Concerts.
Dr. James Dobson reminds us of this. To succeed in our career at the expense of our family is no real success at all. That's a Star 88 Solar Flare.
My time zone when my mind's gone and I'm flying home and I'm stressed out and I'm tempted to get that styrofoam and go pull it up, but you know what's up and you know that ain't gonna solve nothing. I mean, Lord forbid I might fall or something and I'm all another cause to hold me down like bed straps at a psych ward. It's killing me, but you still with me when I fight hard and you digging me when I'm egging you. Deal with me when my car's pulled. Could've dealt with me, but you fell for me before I fell for you. Keep me on that right path and the right math. Is you plus nothing's everything. You my everything. Saying you ain't gotta question my allegiance Cause the way you love me, I could never leave. I need you.
By my side, thick and thin, highs and lows, don't let go. We gon' ride, we gon' win, don't know how, all I know. You, all I ever needed, you all I ever needed. You, all I ever needed, you all I ever needed.
How did I fall in this? No condition that get a mention, but you offer this unconditional love. I swear I sell it all for this. Trying to keep it together, forget my awkwardness. But often it's just you and me off in this valley of shadows, and I know they trying to pick me off in this, but all I need is you. It's funny just how off I get when I ain't riding with you. No adjectives for your awesomeness. They burning one for that burnout. This life done got them all turned out. Took time out to put time in, so I turn to you when I want out. Need is you. You slow me down cause you know me now, but my phony smiling, I'm acting like it's all copacetic. It's so pathetic, so juvenile. Know what you do? You keep me cool in the summer when they be dressing less and I be wanting to show off and stunt. But there ain't nothing to want. You give me all that I need. All I need is you to keep that fire burning for me. All I need is you.
By my side, thick and thin, highs and lows, don't let go. We gon' ride, we gon' win, don't know how, all I know. You, all I ever needed, you all I ever needed. You, all I ever needed, you all I ever needed. Ain't nobody gon' get in the way, put that on my money in the bank. Cause you do what the mothers can't, and I love that, yeah. We gon' ride till the wheels fall off, above it all, we can never fall, yeah. Hold my hand, we can have it all. Hold my hand, we can have it all. By my side, thick and thin, highs and lows, don't let go. We gon' ride, we gon' win, don't know how, all I know. You, all I ever needed, you all I ever needed. All I ever needed, all I ever needed, you all I ever needed. You always fill me up when I'm feeling down. You always make it better for me somehow. All I need is you, cause all I need is you.
Ben Corson considers fear with a Star 88 PowerPoint.
A lot of people think, okay, well, I'm nothing more than a materialist. I'm fingernails and belly button and toenails, and I'm matter, and I'm gonna be recycled, and one day I'm gonna die, and I'm gonna be buried, and then in a million years, humans in the future, they're gonna dig me up, and then they're gonna use me as coal, and then they're gonna put me, coal, in the fireplace, and then in a million years, I'll be smoke billowing out in the ether somewhere. That's pretty depressing. But if you don't believe in God, that's it. If you don't believe you're a spirit, you only believe you're a body, then that's what you believe. Your matter is going to be recycled. But scientists also tell us that energy cannot be destroyed. So while all matter is recycled, it's also true that listen, energy can't be destroyed, nor can energy be created. So you come from a God who cannot be created, and you go to a God which cannot be destroyed. So it stands to reason that you can't be destroyed. You don't have to be scared of death, man.
That's Ben Corson, a PowerPoint on Star 88.
today.
President Trump is touring the Carolinas, visiting areas devastated by Hurricane Florence.
Our entire American family is with you and ready to help.
The Republican chairman of the Senate Judiciary Committee says Christine Blasey Ford has until Friday to submit her testimony to the panel, saying she can appear in public or private on Monday. Her lawyer says Ford will not testify until the FBI investigates her accusations.
Manhunt in the nation's capital after a female jogger was fatally stabbed in this killing, they say.
The leaders of North and South Korea signing a wide-ranging peace agreement.
Kim Jong-un pledging to completely dismantle a key nuclear test site.
Mark Cuban has agreed to donate $10 million after a scathing report detailed widespread sexual misconduct within the sports empire he owns.
The Boston Red Sox can clinch first place in the American League East. They had already printed a banner marking the title, but it went missing. Enter Louis Iacuzzi and James Amaral, who said they found it on the side of the road. They offered to return it for a price.
We would like, maybe to go to a nice playoff game. Or...
They did return the banner, but got nothing. Swing and miss.
Oh, man. Everybody just take a deep breath. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Man, I could be a yoga teacher. Good morning. You downloaded the Star 88 app yet to your smartphone? Have you done it? We want to throw a big pizza party. Free pizza at Village Pizza. We're looking for 5,000 installs. So we're almost there, apparently. We don't even know, man. They won't even tell us how close we are. But once we reach 5,000, we'll throw a party for you guys. We'll give you all the details of Village Pizza. So share it. Share it. And you guys can text in. What's the live line number?
505-585 live. Excuse me. It's 505-585-5483. Remember, the Starmy says they think I have seasonal allergies.
I think you're just getting over something.
Feels like they're sick, make you feel really tired. Can allergies give you a fever, though? That's been my question.
I don't know. I've never heard of that. Remember, you guys can leave voicemails. You can text the live line, but you can also call it and leave voicemails.
Next message.
Good morning, gentlemen. It's Mark.
Hi, Mark.
I've been thinking about this for a few weeks. And I've been thinking about how I wanted to say thank you and how I'm grateful to Star 88. I think I've got it. So I've listened to you guys periodically over the last, and when I say you guys, Star 88, I've listened to Star 88 through its different rebrandings over the last, probably 8 to 9 years.
So many.
This is the longest I've consistently listened to you guys every single day, Monday through Friday.
Wow.
In those 8 or 9 years, especially since it's been Dex joining on. And I think you guys are doing a great job. I mean, you guys have kind of built a community in which I've made some great friends. And a really crusty guy who's really nice. Jarrett, that's you. But I wanted to say how phenomenal it is you guys do what you do and how you guys kind of put your hearts out on the line, so to speak. And I know it's not easy to always be on, but I'm grateful. I think you guys are a blessing to the community in regards to what you do. You guys talk about,
Stop it.
I've said it before, real gospel truth. You guys talk about what it's like in that Christian walk. It's not all happy. It's not all smiles. And it's difficult and it's hard. And I love how you guys can intersperse the gospel within those messages and your goofy ads. You guys are doing a great job. Love you guys.
Oh.
Thanks.
What?
Shut up. There wasn't anything
I
comical
know.
or negative in there.
I thought it was coming.
I was waiting. I was on guard the whole time.
Mark.
Dang it, Mark, you jerk!
You're a sweetheart. That's very cool. Thanks, man. That means so much. See? I'm lazy every day, and it's because of you guys that leave voicemails and send us text messages and call in. That's why I'm here today, you know? It's why I'm not out just Ubering people. Thank you so much. It means the world. Shout out to Mark. Good morning.
Yeah, after that call, I just wanted to call and knock you down a little bit.
Oh, of course. Here we go. Yeah, humble us, yeah.
Humble thyself in the sight of the Lord.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? If I don't have a big head already, you know what? I never will. You know, I'm so humble. I'm so not that guy.
Okay,
I think I am.
You're saying
Huh?
Just the fact that you're saying you're humble is problematic.
You're right. Go ahead, man.
Yeah, you can get a fever with seasonal allergies.
Really?
Oh, okay.
Wow.
That's
Yep.
That's perfect. Then.
Yeah,
That's what it is.
it can almost kind of mimic the flu.
That's exactly how.
Really?
See? So I wasn't contagious and I could have gone to work. Gosh.
Yeah, but you don't know that for sure because you didn't go to the doctor. Go to the doctor, man.
So, did you guys read this morning that a certain MMA fighter here in town
Talked
is
about
eligible to return?
Talked
No,
about
I didn't hear about this.
Talked about it. Oh, I'm so glad you are bringing this up because we talked about it in a pretty interesting context. So, speak.
What was that? What was the context?
Well, it got kind of for those listeners who weren't around in the 6 o'clock hour. We were talking about Jon Jones being reinstated. USADA basically came down with a 15-month suspension, retroactive. He's going to be eligible to come back in October. And most of the Starmy was excited and hoping he does well. But there was, a percentage of the audience that was like, he's a loser. He doesn't deserve yet another chance. And so we were talking about grace and compassion versus justice and when do we write someone off?
Yeah, I don't think you ever write somebody off.
Yeah, but see, here's the question. We were also talking into context because we are, and I didn't mention, I'm telling you right now, I did not mention you this morning. And I'm only bringing it up because this has also been a point of contention on the morning show. We are interviewing a pastor of a church in October. His name is Mark Driscoll. And there are some that are like, hey, you should do this. And there are some that are like, you should definitely not. And there are some that are like, I'm excited to read his new book. And there are some that are like, are you going to ask him why he bailed on all of us? A lot of that, like, it's been pretty divisive, even just saying a pastor's name. So I'm going, well, where does that go? And what do we do with the Kevin Spaceys of the world? And you know what I'm saying?
Well, I think there's a clear difference between the two. And by the way, I would love to come in and do that interview.
Yeah, you're not allowed.
What do you mean I'm not allowed?
Yeah, we're gonna lock the door. It's got to be just us. We were given very clear instructions from his
I
publicist.
don't think that would be a good idea.
We will.
I was told that I had an open invitation to come in whenever I wanted, and I would love to come in and do that interview.
Except for
Your
that
mic won't be turned on if
day.
you do come in. So.
No, I've gotten some pretty good questions, not from you, but like seriously from multiple friends in town who are like, please ask this question, please ask that question, and we're gonna try.
We'll handle it, man. We got it. We'll handle it.
Well, I said we're gonna try because we got a pretty lengthy note from the publicist about what we can and cannot talk about. So, yeah.
You know, I think that's a bunch of hogwash. I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to say that right now because when you're interviewing somebody, the fact that they're going to say, "Well, you can talk about this, but don't ask about this."
I hate that. Yeah.
You know,
I wanted to cancel the interview. I was like, then let's not interview the guy.
Yeah. Personally, I mean, I kind of question why. You know, I mean, we don't want to get into this on the air, do we?
No, we don't have to.
I
we don't have to. No, you called in to talk Jon Jones, so let's talk Jon Jones.
Okay, so the difference between what you're talking about between that certain pastor and Jon Jones is Jon Jones got handed something, right? And they said, you know, he's been without work for a long time.
A while, yeah.
He's been without work for a long time, and it's clearly different because this other person that you're talking about, he had the opportunity to have a plan of restoration, and then said, you know what, I don't think I want to do that.
Yeah.
So it's really different. You know, there's no.
I know what you're saying.
You're comparing apples and chihuahuas right now. I mean, they're totally different things.
That's good. I like that comparison. I like that.
They're roughly the same size, and they taste the same. I don't
Do they?
understand.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Huh.
Thank you.
That's good.
Yeah,
man.
So I think it's different. You know, I think with Jon, you know, the thing that you have to think about is like, you know, I mean, USADA is supposed to be a pretty legitimate organization.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
You know, it's now. I mean, obviously, I think the three of us probably have a little bit more understanding about the goings on of MMA than Joe Q Public because of relationships that we have.
Yeah.
So it's my understanding that USADA is more of it's a legitimate organization. I think they're the ones that caught Lance Armstrong, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah. So if they come out and say this is okay, this is what we've decided, then I think you kind of have to just go with that.
Yeah. Yep, I agree.
So.
Yep.
Dana White. They were talking to Dana White yesterday, and I mean, you have to love Dana White. Dana White says, "Science don't lie, bro."
Yeah, science don't lie.
Yeah.
And I think the big hang up with a lot of people still is the time when John crashed into the pregnant lady. A lot of people just really can't get past that. And I don't know. I got past it. I understand people make mistakes. That was a bad time in his life, and we don't know John personally. We don't know how sorry he is and if his life has really changed. So we can't sit back here and judge, the type of person he is now or if he's really changed.
No, I mean, really what this goes back to, honestly, this is like you can equate all of these people that are judging to, what Paul says in the Bible, and Paul says, "I'm the worst person that I know. I'm the worst sinner that I know."
Yeah.
And if you, this is my thought. If you personally don't believe that about yourself, then something's wrong.
That's what we talked about this morning. Yeah, we agree.
Yeah, because I mean, man, we're all just bad people, and we have been forgiven for so much that we have to forgive for much. Yeah. And the thing is, too, is people that are saying that. That are trying to impose their judgment on them, it's like you just don't have a right.
Yeah.
We don't have the right to do that. And the other thing is like you don't even really personally know the guy. He's just a figure. He's a sports figure. So I think people that are judging the situation probably, I mean, especially Christians. All right, let me paraphrase that by saying Christians judging this situation. If somebody's judging this situation really harshly, they need to step back and really think about the idea of like you said, Steve-O, grace and forgiveness, because we have been forgiven for so much that we do not deserve to be forgiven for.
Yeah.
That you have to really look at situations through that set of lenses.
Yeah. You know what? We agree. We agree, sir. Yes, sir. But that's good news, man. I was really excited to see his post yesterday that he'd be coming back sooner than later. So it's good news.
It's funny is a month ago I talked to my friend Nick. Nick.
Oh, Nick. Yes.
I don't think you've met him, but I was talking to him about a month ago, and I said I have a prediction for you. My prediction is USADA will hand down a suspension. It will basically be time served, and Jon Jones will be the main event fighting Alexander the Mauler Gustafsson in New York in November.
Did you see what Dana White said, though? He already said that he wouldn't fight in 2018, that a possible 2019 return seems more likely.
Let's see what happens.
Yeah, you know what? You might be right.
Because I agree with you. I agree with you, Buck.
Because Alexander's people have already said that he could be ready to fight for UFC 230.
Wow. See, I would be. I'm down with that. I'm ready for that.
Yeah, that'd be a good one. Because I thought John lost that fight. I really do. I thought he lost that fight against Gus.
Yeah, for sure. That's good,
All
man.
right, boys. I have to go to the Yim and go pump some irons. I'm going to go get my swole on.
All right, bro.
Nice, dude.
We'll see you.
Nice.
Later, man.
See you, boys.
Buck, everybody, Buck. Yeah, I think I can agree for the first time with everything Buck said this morning.
Whoa, dude!
Doesn't happen very often. That's a rare thing, but it happened. It did. It happened.
Okay.
Yeah. So we got Mark Driscoll coming up in the near future on the show.
October 17th.
Yep.
He'll be on the show.
That'll be good. And, Jon Jones is back in the octagon maybe this year. Gonna, next year for sure, but I hope you're right, man. I hope this year.
Yeah.
Because I want to see that go down. I don't think John's. I don't think he's really taken any time off as far as the gym. Maybe he hasn't been pushing as hard as far as like training camps, but as what I've seen and what I've heard from friends is that he's been working out pretty consistent, preparing for that comeback. So he hasn't. It's not like he's been kicking back.
I follow that dude on the old Instagram. I've been watching those videos, and I'm going, dude.
Yeah,
Champ is here.
Yeah,
Champ is here.
That's, in my opinion, is the greatest fighter of all time, right there.
Remains to be seen, in my opinion.
What remains to be seen?
Okay, hey, not to get into the controversy, but truly, I would say that in the octagon, absolutely, he's an animal, and there's nobody like him. However, a handful of those fights have to be disregarded because of failed drug tests. All of them. So you can't say he's the greatest when he's doing it illegally.
I don't know if you could say a handful.
Is Lance Armstrong the greatest bicyclist of all time?
I don't think you can compare the doping charges to Lance Armstrong because the times John has gotten caught,
I'm just saying,
it wouldn't matter, in my opinion, that the steroids helped him in any way.
Helped him choke out Machida.
No,
Gosh, remember that
I don't
fight?
think so.
Gosh, no, don't get me wrong. I'm with you, but I'm saying it's still going to be argued. That's like people jumping out of the woodwork to immediately say Barry Bonds is the greatest home run hitter of all time. Well, he holds the record, but that dude went from Steve Rogers pre-Super Soldier Serum to Captain America and was bombing baseballs. Now, did it still take an incredible amount of skill to drive that baseball as far as he did, steroids or not? Absolutely. But it's still argued because of his failed drug tests. Because at the time in baseball, it wasn't illegal to rock performance-enhancing drugs. And then it became illegal. So, I don't know. I'm just saying it's arguable. Because I hear you. He's a phenomenal athlete and has done things in the octagon I've never seen anybody else do.
And that's the big thing is why, the whole doping thing. I think almost anybody in that professional world has said he doesn't even need them. Like, why would he, especially this last time, which he's now proven innocent in the doping charges from this last investigation with USADA. It was tampered protein. It wasn't his fault. It was because of a bad batch of protein at the factory. So wasn't his fault. And even if he was to take those steroids and he purposely did it, it wouldn't even have helped him in the fight at all.
Yeah.
That's what they found out. So I don't know. That's just where I'm at.
Remember this time we said there's a correlation to our entire conversation because Jon Bones Jones physically beat people up and that pastor spiritually, emotionally, and verbally beat people
up. Wow. They go hand in hand? Is that what they're saying?
I mean, it's going to be very interesting. Listen, I am very excited for the interview and for that conversation. Spirit-Filled Jesus. He's got a new book coming out. In fact, we got an advanced copy of it. So,
but I agree with Buck. I can't stand it when people do that. When here's somebody that wants to come on a show and promote their book or whatever they're promoting, and then they give you restrictions on what you can and can't say.
Yeah.
That, in my opinion, I would rather just cancel the interview. Hey, man, if you don't want to be real and talk about real things, then get out of here.
Well, I think we're going to talk about it.
I know. I've heard some of the things that you've already mentioned. I'm like, okay, I think we can do this.
Yeah, there's a way to go about it. There's a way to go about it without being a jerk and accusatory. We can still have a civil conversation because we're still journalists, and I want to know the truth about some things. How do we reconcile certain things?
The thing is, can he handle the truth? All right, well, let's take a break, everybody. Shock Therapy Live is coming up. We think. So get your questions in. You guys, of course, call us. We'd definitely prefer if you would call us during Shock Therapy Live. You can be anonymous, but if you're struggling with something, whether it's relationships, addictions, whatever you're struggling with, that's why we do Shock Therapy Live. We get real, we bring the truth, and hopefully we can help you out. So you can also text in your questions or studio at star 88 FM. What's the live line number to text in?
505-585-LIVE. That's 505-585-5483.
All right, Shock Therapy Live coming up. Live from the Dreamstyle Remodeling Star 88 Studios. Next.
In the West, never have so many had so much and still been so miserable. Here's a hotspot from Skip Heitzig.
It does not take long in this life before people, even as children, learn the fine art of being discontent. They want more than what they have.
Hotspot. Right here is some solid wisdom from Skip. Listen up.
First of all, avoid comparisons. That'll get you every time. Once you start looking at what others have or are doing compared to you, you start comparing yourself, it's downhill. Because comparison robs you of contentment and promotes covetousness.
Here's a wise question from Skip.
What truths do you hold to that would keep you from complaining? Because I believe that contentment is related to what you believe about God's sovereignty.
Get free access to over 3,000 teachings from Skip at connectwithskip.com.
Contentment does not come from what we have, it comes from whom we have.
Hotspot.
A supernova on Star 88 with David Jeremiah.
They were assisting him in his ministry. They were following his word and helping him preach the gospel. And yet these men find themselves terrified in the midst of a storm, tossed to and fro, up and down, and in danger of drowning. And fear takes over their hearts. The disciples were not in the storm because they were disobedient. They were in the storm because they were obedient. They were not in the storm because they were doing something wrong. They were in the storm because they were doing something right. Don't let anyone ever tell you if you're going through a storm in your life, it's because you've done something wrong. It well may be, but it not necessarily is. Storms come to all of us, no matter who we are, and oftentimes it is nothing to do with what you've been doing, but everything to do with what God wants to accomplish in your life.
Turning Point with David Jeremiah. Don't miss it on our sister station, KNKT, weekdays at 11 a.m. on 107.1 FM. This is KLYT, Albuquerque, Santa Fe, rebroadcast on KKCJ, Cannon Air Force Base, KPKJ, Mintmore, K201CC, Las Cruces, K203EZ, Alamogordo, K207CQ, Gallup, K211CW, Hobbs, K212EH, Silver City, K214DE, Antonito, K218AK, Artesia, K250AB, Roswell, K293AO, Alamosa, K228DQ, Portales, in the free app for iOS and Android, and online at star88.fm.
Never have I found someone like you. You call my every move. Know me better than I know myself. I got nothing to prove. Even now in the darkest hour, even now in the darkest hour, I know that you're hearing me. I know that you're hearing me. Even now am I wandering. Even now am I wandering. I know that you're here with me. I
The Morning Invasion brings you Shock Therapy Live, featuring Pastor Nate Heitzig. Call now, 338-3700, or email us at studio@star88.fm.
All right, everybody. Shock Therapy Live with Pastor Nate Heitzig is
Come on.
everybody.
Dude, it's actually now called the Dex and Nate Show.
Dex and Nate Show, because Steve-O is playing his game.
My wife's
the
coming on
toilet.
today.
Oh, really?
Yeah, she's getting me coffee,
Good.
though.
Janae will be here. This is an hour show for you guys. We tackle a lot of issues that the church, a lot of people don't talk about. That's why we call it Shock Therapy Live. So get your questions in. People are pouring their questions in as we speak.
People are pouring.
Just the live
That's
ones
such
blowing
a
up.
such
They're
a radio
pouring
thing to say.
Pouring in.
That's such a radio thing
It
to
so
say.
is. They're just pouring in right now.
The phone lines are jammed.
We just lock it in, guys. Lock it in. That's another good radio thing to say.
It is?
Yeah. You're locked in. Yeah. Steve, one of Steve-O's favorite things he likes to say.
There we go.
I've never said that.
That's a lie. You say it all the time. You're
Keep
locked.
it locked.
Keep it locked, guys.
Keep it locked right here on Star 88.
Yeah.
I do not.
Yeah, you do.
Dude,
Hi,
it's
guys.
been a minute. We didn't have Shock Therapy Live. It's just been 1 week, right? We didn't have it last week. We had it the week before.
Well, here's the thing. This is going to be like the last Shock Therapy Live of the year.
What?
Yeah.
You're not here next week because teaching.
We got your schedule.
yeah.
You're not here the week after that or the week after
There's like
that.
4 weeks where you're not going to be
And
here.
then and then
man.
you're back for 2 weeks, but then you're not here for like a couple weeks in November too.
Oh, man.
I know. Jackie gave us a schedule, and I was like, "Dang, dog, should we just do a season finale? One of us should die."
Wow.
Yeah, and then it'll be like tune in for season 7 of STL.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. So,
But we got to figure out how we resurrect somebody.
well, we
There's
can
gotta
make
be
it
some
seem
kind of
like
a
somebody's
story.
dead, but they're clearly not actually dead. It's
Cliffhanger.
Like, yeah. One of those things where
And we have to
don't
change
know.
that person's name to Victor, because Victor always dies and comes back in Young and the Restless.
Nobody watches that show.
Phone lines are open, 505-338-3700. And, of course, you can text in. You can go to Facebook. You can go to YouTube Live at Star 88 FM and get your questions in. They're pouring in right now.
Oh, actually, we have a couple.
Good.
Real quick, somebody said on the live line, 505-585-LIVE. I have a work friend who is a male. We're both married and we get along really well and have tons in common. However, I know for a fact there's an attraction between us.
Ooh.
We message each other on our work DMs, but nothing out of the ordinary, just work-related things or music we're listening to. Is it possible to have a crush on someone other than your spouse? I know this is wrong, but I also have self-control. I really don't know what else to say about this, but what do you guys think coming from a man's perspective?
Well, yeah, it's possible.
Well, yeah, of course, it's possible to have a crush, but should you foster that and should you feed into that?
Nope.
Definitely not.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, man, you got to stop all communication
Quit
with this
poking that
dude.
fire, man.
Yeah, dude, you were
Because I mean,
treading in
like
dangerous territory.
you're asking from a guy's perspective. Okay, let's ask from a girl's perspective. Let's say your boyfriend started, or your husband started having an attraction to a girl that he worked with and started messaging her and, talking to her. How would that make
not
you feel?
crazy things, just work-related things
Yeah.
and or music that we're rocking right
Yeah,
now.
I mean, but I know we both totally have a crush on each other. There's mutual attraction.
You're a cheater.
Yeah, you gotta stop that.
Yeah,
you gotta
that's-
cut that out.
That's dangerous territory. Like, I don't even.
Yep. You end up on
Especially
an
if you
episode
know,
of
like
Cheaters Hotel.
starting with like, hey, we know there's an attraction between us. It's like, oh yeah.
Yeah, that's
don't-
bad.
Don't do that. Like, is that sinful being attracted to somebody else? No. Is fostering
Now,
that?
because I can tell you from a
sinful?
guy's perspective, maybe you have self-control and you're like, oh yeah,
Yes.
totally.
I'm
I'm
so
gonna,
glad you're- yes.
I'm not gonna let it go anywhere.
I would never.
If you know he has an attraction towards you and he's fostering and putting forth communication with you, I guarantee you his motives are different than yours.
Yep. Yep. Even if like seemingly like, yeah, no, guys, we talked about it. That's how we know there's an attraction. We both agreed like we can't take it next level. Nah, dude, get out.
But now
Run.
he's thinking, oh,
Run.
she likes me.
She likes me. She's into me. So
Yeah.
especially if the dude knows that's
You're a cheater.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want to end up on Cheaters Motel.
Cheaters Motel?
Yep.
You mean Cheaters Hotel?
No, because let's be honest, sleazy people like that go to motels. Not
You're a cheater.
hotels.
Cheater.
No, they go to the Wynn Hotel.
And we're non-com, so we can't afford to take them to the hotel. We got to
Yeah.
take them to the motel.
That's why we're changing it to Cheaters Casino. Sponsored by Route 66 Casino.
Let's do it.
Does that mean we get tickets to shows like Third Eye Blind?
Dude, I thought about going to that, but I was like, do I want to see Third Eye Blind at a casino?
No, right? I didn't get tickets either. I saw them when they were here at the El Rey, and then I was like, dang, dude, one of my favorites from the 90s is now playing casinos.
I know.
How do I feel about this?
Not good.
No.
Hey,
Not
Janae's
great.
here.
No,
Janae,
not
hi.
good at all.
Hey.
Hey, welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. Did you hear the question?
I didn't. I was having other
Okay.
conversations.
From a female perspective, female chick, lady, person has a work friend who is a male. They're both married. They get along really well. They have tons in common. However, I know for a fact there's an attraction between us. We message each other on our work DM, but nothing out of the ordinary, just work-related things or music. Is it possible to have a crush on someone other than your spouse? I know it's wrong, but I also have self-control. I really don't know what else to say, but what do you guys think coming from a man's perspective? So,
from a man.
Music, he's like
Well,
that.
We
she
already
didn't want,
said.
she didn't want my perspective.
Well, yeah. No, but as a female, like,
Heck no.
yeah.
Is it possible to have a crush on another man? Absolutely.
Yeah.
But
this is
that's
why
what you
Janae
have
and I
to-
don't DM each other anymore at work. I'm
Oh,
just like,
wow.
gosh.
Because you're so attracted to each other? Is that what you meant?
Apparently, he's attracted to me.
Steve-O's always
No, okay.
Steve-O's always
okay.
sending me songs that he likes. He's always
Okay.
like, Nate, have you heard this God Bless the Broken Road song by Rascal Flatts?
No. This
He's always sending
proves
me
the
stuff
point.
like that.
I'm being completely comical. Did you see how awkward that was?
Yeah, I got really uncomfortable. 'cause
Yeah.
Nate's like right here.
Well, no, but seriously, how uncomfortable is that? You're married, bro. Like,
Well, and you can sit here and tell me you have self-discipline. Your self-discipline needs to be that you don't DM him.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you
if
don't
you-
have
if-
very
if-
good self-control if you're doing
it's-
this right now.
Yeah, if it's work-related, I think you guys can send emails.
No,
I don't
that's so
think you
true.
need to chat.
Especially because she said she knows it's wrong. She
Yeah,
said, I know it's wrong, but I have really good self-control.
No, self-control
but if you know it's wrong,
is
then
not
why are you doing it
engaging
now?
in conversation,
Yeah.
not sending each other music. It's literally if you have something work-related that has to go to him, you send an email, and you don't have these conversations throughout work.
Or you
Because
just do
you
what
are-
girls have been good at doing for centuries. You just give him the cold shoulder and never talk to him when you see him and give him a
Good
little
call,
kiss.
sir.
Yeah,
Come
that's
on, girls
harder.
are awesome at that.
They are awesome at that, but when there's an attraction there, they're not awesome at
Well,
that.
she needs to get
So
awesome
she
at
needs, She just needs. I would encourage her to back off, and practice.
Back off.
Back off, because
Back
she's
off,
just
Barbie.
back off, Barbie, or Bobby.
Back off, Barbie.
Because let's think about this. You're engaging in these conversations. They're only going to grow more intimate.
Yeah.
I mean,
No.
it went from work-related to songs.
You're stoking the fire.
Yeah.
You're just going to keep going.
Yeah, because when's
Dude, and
that
guess
next
what?
song going to be that song that's like,
Yeah.
that's a little iffy.
Music's no, seriously, music's music's
way.
powerful.
Yeah.
Like a guy sends a girl
Yeah.
this song and says, "Hey, this song makes me think of you."
Yeah,
and it's
no.
like,
And it's Dirty Little Secret by
ooh.
All American Rejects. And you're
Oh,
going,
wow.
wait, what does that mean?
Yeah.
This is my
And
song
then,
to you.
and then,
say
and
it's
then,
not
and then when
safe.
you get into a marital fight, and then he comes to you and says, "My wife and I are getting in a fight," and
Oh,
she's like, "Oh, I'm so
yeah.
sorry."
Yep.
I mean, it doesn't go anywhere good.
Yeah, literally everybody's like, run as fast as you can. This is a disaster waiting to happen. It's
Yeah.
only going to take one slip up, downhill from there.
You're a cheater.
Do not even, don't
Yeah.
even approach
Yeah.
it.
You're gonna engage in an emotional affair, and then it can lead to more. So
He's bad.
It's real bad. Dento on YouTube says, I'm a very jealous man. This isn't my wife, right?
oh no,
we don't have her name, so I don't know, but yeah, I would tell you, bro. I would.
bro.
I'm just kidding.
I got your back.
Somebody said she needs to put those flirtatious efforts towards her husband.
Yep.
Yeah. Somebody says I have a question. I don't believe myself as an addict, but when I'm around company, I do get involved in drugs about once, twice a year. I've never bought drugs, but when I'm offered, I take it. Does that make me an addict?
Doesn't make you an addict. Doesn't make.
It just
I mean,
Doesn't make you responsible either.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah.
What kind of drugs?
I don't.
That's what I want to know.
Ibuprofen.
Just curious on what kind of drug.
I
Ibuprofen.
also have a headache. Yeah, I'll take 3 ibuprofen.
Yeah, I'll have some meth. It's cool. Yeah.
No, yeah, it doesn't make you an addict. It makes you foolish.
Yeah.
Like, seriously, it's like, why? For what purpose? Maybe it does make you not an addict, but a people pleaser. Like, maybe you're not really into doing that yourself, but you're around those people and you're like, well, they're into it, so I'll do it.
Yeah.
Not because I feel like I need to. So.
Doesn't make you an addict, but it does make you a drug user.
Yeah. Yep.
Jon Jones knows all about that.
Whoa.
Oh. Come on,
Well, you guys, I
man.
was trying to tie it into earlier.
Okay,
Jon
We've
Jones.
talked about this a couple times today.
I know.
We have.
I heard that part.
Yeah. Yep. Let's see. Piggybacking on that question, The previous one about
But
married
just
people.
just to note, because a lot of people say, well, it doesn't make me an addict, and that's their excuse for why they can do drugs, because they're not addicted to it.
Yeah.
But the reason I even brought up Jon Jones is doing something one time can cause you to lose your career.
Boom.
One slip up, one mess up can cause you to lose incredible things. It can cause you to lose your marriage. It can cause you to lose. So like that girl with like, well, we're not having an affair. Yeah, but one wrong turn can lead to an affair, and that can ruin your marriage.
Yeah.
You know, one doing drugs one time can cause you to lose your career. All these things. It's not doing it habitually that is like, oh, as long as I don't do it all the time, it's okay.
Yeah.
No, doing it once can ruin everything.
Yeah.
So don't just live off this idea that, oh, as long as I don't do it all the time, I'm okay.
Piggybacking on the married question. But what if you don't have an attraction to someone? What if you do not have a crush on each other? Should married couples be allowed to trust each other enough to let their spouse hang out with friends no matter the gender?
In groups, yeah.
Yeah.
Solo, no. And for me, it's not just because of the attraction; it's because of the optics. Man, a married guy going out and hanging out with a girl by themselves does not look good.
No.
And as Christians, we're called to live above reproach, and also to flee the possibility, the temptation of evil. And although you say, oh, we don't have a crush on each other right now, what happens when you get into a really good conversation and realize you have a lot in common, and that innocent relationship turns into a crush?
Well, not only that, but what makes the best relationship is first having a friendship.
Yeah.
And so regardless of your relationship, if there's an attraction or not, I mean, you don't have to have a physical attraction to somebody to then learn and grow to love them as a friend, and then that to develop into more. And so it's not that you can't love other genders. I think I can love my guy friends, but I love the guy friends that are your guy friends, and we all hang out.
Yeah.
You know? And so it's not that you
exactly.
can't love them, but there's just precautionary ways of hanging out and being wise. And like you said, fleeing temptation.
Yeah.
We keep going back and forth. People are like, ooh, interested in this one, interested in that one, because somebody said, well, speaking of drug use. First of all, they said, hey, by the way, been there, done that, and now I don't have a wife. So listen, take that into account.
Yeah. Yep.
Wife who chimed in. Secondly, speaking of drugs, is drinking alcohol a sin if you get plastered? Well, that's pretty basic.
The Bible says, do not be drunk with wine.
Yeah.
That's why I only drink whiskey.
You're right.
In major excess, because it doesn't
No
say anything about
drunkenness.
whiskey.
It doesn't say
said do not get drunk on wine.
Okay, don't be
I'm
a
just kidding.
drunkard.
I'm totally joking.
That's in there too.
I know. I'm trying to be comical today. You're so
I know.
serious. Gosh.
But yeah, I approve whiskey, right? Sorry.
What about Zima?
No! Get out of here!
Yes, my mom drank that when I was
you
little.
And Joey Belleville.
I say little, but I mean
Gosh.
younger.
Do you put a Jolly Rancher in it? Smack!
What? I've never heard that, but that
that
seems.
is.
Zima, it looks
it
like
was
Sprite.
like from the 90s, and it
Yes.
was
It's like an
terrible.
alcoholic Sprite.
Yes.
Yeah.
They were terrible, and
No way.
ladies loved them.
The
and
ladies
I'm not
loved
even
them.
joking. They'd put Jolly Ranchers in
I've
them.
never seen that.
and it's
I
like,
almost want a Zima just to try that.
Why are you so gross? Why are you so nasty? They're like wine coolers or whatever they're called.
Oh.
That's how you got the
girly
girls to the
drinks.
party
Yeah.
when you were younger. It was like you always had to have the Zima.
The
See, Nate,
Zima.
I love that you don't know what Zima is. That makes me happier than anything.
Yeah.
I'm
It's because I loved Jesus when I was a kid.
Uh-huh. Loved
I
it when
didn't
was
My
a
drink
kid.
parents
Zima.
loved
Says
Jesus
loved.
when I was a kid.
Yes.
Yeah, my parents
That's
do
true.
too, and did.
Yeah. But I see your mom
I
having
was
Zima
just-
in the
No,
house.
she did have Zima in the 90s, like you said. She had Zima, and I think that was like the alternative to when a man has beer.
Yeah.
She had Zima.
No, seriously.
Because it was like a lighter
Some
thing.
had
It didn't
wine,
have high.
some had-
It didn't
yeah.
have like high calories. That was
This
like the
is
first light
hilarious.
beer,
See
I
what
guess.
You did?
I don't
See
know.
what you did?
But
See,
yeah, Zima.
This is an
I remember
excellent
Zima.
example to the wife who is DMing that guy random things. It takes a turn, and you just never know. One wrong slip up, Dex, with the Zima comment.
Yeah.
And we're talking Zima for 5 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
So I'm just saying, you never know.
I want to hide.
Somebody said, I heard actually Billy Graham would CC another person when emailing anyone of the opposite sex and have another person present when meeting with the opposite sex.
Yep.
Yeah.
He
it's
wanted
good.
that accountability.
It's good.
So, yeah.
And not even just meeting. Like, I think of like the friends who I have that are girls.
Mhm.
Well, they're all the friends who I have that are girls are friends of or are wives of guys that I have that are friends.
Right.
But I don't even ever text like if I'm texting them, I text it in a group text. Like I don't even ever text them individually.
Right.
Like I think it's weird.
Mm-hmm. Unless you're like planning a surprise birthday party for them, and you need.
But I mean, even if there truly is nothing there, even the misconception that like if I found out that Janae was texting, like okay, there's different work related things. Like Janae works with Steven, so she texts Steven individually all the time.
Yeah.
But if I found out that we had like friends and she was texting them just about like personal life stuff,
Janae,
hey,
stop-
how are you? What are you?
texting.
What are you
I'm
up to?
fine.
Like
Oops.
she was texting just personal life stuff. Even if it didn't say anything sketchy in the text at all, I would be tripped out by it.
Right.
Confession.
Hey, whoa.
I text Steve.
She does text me, but it's
About
usually during the show, and it's about the
shock
show.
therapy.
And it's
Yeah.
shock therapy when she's not here. But I would like, hey, from now on, will you text me and Nate?
Yeah,
when,
CC
Yeah.
if you
when
can
he's
I
on
will
the show?
CC Nate
Please
on
don't
it,
do
or
that
I'll
because I
CC
really
Dex
hate
on
group
it.
texts.
I do.
I'll remove myself from the
I
group.
do too. Oh, I've muted so many groups, guys. It's awful. Anyways, okay. Moving on.
Have you ever done this? Have you ever removed yourself from a group and forgot that you did it, and then found out that a group was texting? You're like, why am I not part of that text? And you're like, you were part of that text. You removed yourself, and then you're like, oh, yeah. Can I have another invite?
Chrissy said maybe I should text in right now. Okay. Gosh, we have so many things this morning. It's been a minute. So how about this? How about a lengthy email?
Okay.
Oh.
Good morning.
Morning.
I hope this is where you email when you have a question for Shock Therapy Live. Good news. It is. That was the whole question. I'm just kidding.
Yes.
My background. I'm 21. I've been going to church in my local community, Calvary Chapel, Rio Grande Valley, for about 8 years. Been serving at the church for 5 of those 8 years in different areas: sign language, worship, audiovisual, security. I also volunteer to serve when we have special events: VBS, Harvest Fest, Family Fest. My dilemma starts with the separation or self-elevation of people that's exemplified by the people that work for the church. Our church also has a school associated with it, and I've noticed that the people, teachers, parents, and pastors alike whom are involved with the school or church seem to elevate themselves above other congregants that attend church there on a weekly basis. I can go by those individuals and say, hi, how are you, or good morning, and they usually don't make eye contact or even say a word back. Additionally, there have been times where I've heard the pastor himself and his wife overlook, ignore, or forget, whatever adjective you'd like to use, me when I'm trying to talk to them. I feel invisible and overlooked. Recently, I went to a young women's Bible study, and I felt like I didn't fit in with the other young women the same age as me. I noticed there was a clique of young women led by the pastor's daughter who didn't even notice me or care to make me feel included. In one specific incident, we had to introduce ourselves. We went around in a circle, and that specific group was quiet for everybody else. And when it got to me, I started by saying my name. I hadn't even finished saying my name, and the group started talking amongst themselves. I feel like an outsider. I haven't been attending that church for very long. I've been to other Bible studies. I felt as if I was an outsider and hadn't been attending that church for very long. I've been to other Bible studies at churches I don't even attend, and I felt more included than one put on by my own home church of 8 years. I've been ignoring the fact that groups, cliques, factions, whatever you want to call them, are beginning to or already emerged within the church I attend. I'm wanting some advice on how to go about handling the dilemma of cliques. Any help would be much appreciated, as I'm feeling ostracized from within by my local church.
So there's a lot of backstory there. So what's the question again?
Basically, how do you deal with
How do you
cliques?
deal with
And-
cliques? Hey, She Ministries, how do you deal with cliques?
Right.
I mean,
what I can say is cliques happen.
Yep.
It's just those are, and you think like, oh, why? This is high school all over again. Why does this happen? And it's really partially, yes, it is, but at the same time, no, it's not. They're friendships. They've developed, the reason there's such a thing as a clique is it's a group of friends who have gotten to know each other and have this intimate relationship with each other. And now you feel like an outsider because you don't know them intimately like they know each other. The best thing I can say or encourage you to do is to continue to put yourself out there. I know it's awkward, it's uncomfortable, and you kind of feel ostracized because you don't know them, but the only way you can get to know them is by putting yourself out there time and time again. And then when they see that, they can, open their arms if they're genuine and they are willing to be loving in the church. I'm somebody who genuinely is super I would say, introverted, and it's hard to make friends, and it's hard to put myself out there. And you just have to get over that uncomfortable feeling and feeling like, oh, I'm always on the outside. You just have to continue pursuing friendships.
Yeah.
And through those friendships, then they'll grow, and you can have accountability, and you can have, and it's not like you can have your own clique and be a part of a clique, but you can develop your own group of friends.
Yeah.
I would say try to view it in the positive. They've created these great friendships, and you can pursue to do the same thing with them or with others in the church.
I didn't know you were introverted. That's cool.
Yeah.
Super introverted.
I am.
Really?
Yeah,
I
she's
like
super
to
intro.
duck and hide.
Hmm.
Like if
I
we
didn't
go
know
to
that either.
parties or if we went somewhere out to a public thing, if he left my side, he
Yeah?
would get reamed because I just get anxiety and I get uncomfortable with big crowds and everyone around me, and I feel like people are looking at me or ignoring me, and I'm like,
Yeah, I'm
help
the
me,
same
Lord,
way.
help
I
me.
escape.
Yeah, I would run if
Like,
I could.
all kids' parties.
And he's so
You what?
excited,
I
he
escape.
he
Escape what?
networks all around.
All of that. All of that just gave me anxiety.
Yeah, see?
But you're extroverted.
Ish. With my friends.
With his friends.
Like,
and
if we-
that's
so funny.
how I am.
No, that's how I am too. Because
If we have UFC fights or whatever, and I'm hanging with my friends, cool. If we're at a kids'
Right.
party and I don't know people, I'm in the backyard
So
by myself,
awkward.
freaking out. Going,
Yes.
it's so loud here.
yes,
Just as
You,
last
me
Friday.
you say that's you,
Just-
but you're a networker. Like you go around
No.
and you can
No,
kind of.
I'm with Nate a little bit on this.
But for certain things, so Alyssa actually called me out on this. That she was like, every party, I always find you at some point on the couch on your phone by yourself, not talking to people.
That's me.
That's true.
I freak out. It
I
gets
do
to be
not
too much.
like. I like hanging out. I desperately hate being by myself at home.
Yeah.
So like introverted people, true introverts recharge by being by
Being
themselves,
alone.
like reading
Yeah.
a book. I don't recharge that way.
Yeah, I think we're
I
very similar in
recharge
this.
by having close, deep conversations with the people that I love.
Yes.
So like sitting in a hot tub with like 5 people that I
Oh,
love
yeah.
dearly
All
and having
dudes.
a
Hot tub
conversation
fun.
for like 3 hours. That's how I recharge.
No, I'm in agreement.
But
We're of one accord.
being with a big group of people stresses me out. I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't want.
I talked about this on the show. Chrissy invited me out. She was out at girls' night, and she was like, "Meet my friends."
Oh no,
Showboating.
that would
And I
give
was
me
like,
anxiety.
and I finally showed up. I was like, "No, girls' night. You guys have fun because you
Yeah.
don't get out enough by yourself." And finally, I was like, I'm on this side of town. Fine, I'll meet you guys. So I met up there, and I was there for all of like 30 minutes, and then I totally lied and was like, "Oh, my father-in-law Harold's hitting us up. I got to go get the baby." And she's like, "Oh, okay. Do you want me to join?" And I'm like, No. Have fun with your friends. And then, I walked out and texted her and was like, "Hey, that's not true. I just needed to get out of there." Like, I can't with
this
I
last
can't.
this last staff
I freak
development. I really realized why. It's that I really like a lot of people like we did the 5 gears, and it's like there's connectors, and like initially I was like, I'm not a connector at all, but I realized by saying that what it is, I'm not a 3rd gear person. This 3rd gear where it's like cocktail party and small talk, I'm not a 3rd gear person. I'm a 2nd gear person. I really like sitting down and having a deep conversation with somebody and getting to the nitty gritty.
Yeah.
I really like that, but I hate this 3rd gear. So for me, I've realized I just hate small talk.
Because I think third gear is 2nd gear for us when we're with our close friends. I've never, even if it's like 8, 10, 12 of us, it's all 2nd gear conversations.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
never, because we're close.
Yeah.
So I think this speaks to the question though, because the girl's like, these girls are so cliquey, but maybe it's not that they're so cliquey. Maybe they're truly, they look on the outside as these extroverts who are fun and excited, but maybe they're really just within their safe space of their friends close to them.
And I think that's
will
where
say, if you
cliques
want to
get a bad
develop, and if you
name.
want to develop friendships with those people, the way to do it isn't trying to hang out with them in a group initially, because they are all friends, and so you naturally will feel ostracized. But it's to ask them individually to, hey, I'd love to go to coffee with you sometime,
Get to
and
know
get to
some
know
of them.
them on an individual basis, and then you'll be more comfortable in the group, because then you'll develop inside jokes that the other people don't know, and you'll develop, and it won't feel quite as weird.
Yeah, I
no,
agree.
for real. Oh God.
But being a girl's hard.
Dude,
Girl,
okay, so have you
I get
found
it.
my instinct whenever I'm in and literally a conversation with someone I don't know well at all, I always go to the weather. I know that's terrible. It's like the one thing that's like, that's how you know, like, oh, so how's the weather?
I'm going to
But
start
literally-
listening for that.
No, but literally I find I'm like, oh man, the weather's been crazy lately, huh?
We did
I
that
find
when you
myself,
came in.
I find myself doing that all the
It was
time.
awkward when you came in and Steve-O left us, and I totally went to the weather thing. I'm like, oh, I just love this weather.
Oh, no.
Dude, I did that to
Dad.
Nate.
Dude.
But you're a friend. You can't do that.
I'm just weird around everybody.
Everyone.
He is very awkward, even with me. Like, we talk for 4 hours a day together, and there are times where it's just us chilling, and we won't say 2 words to each other.
See, I'm totally comfortable with that. I'm totally comfortable just being in silence with my bud.
Yeah.
It's gotten to the
that's
point,
cool.
though, where it's so bad for me that I notice when I'm doing it, like while I'm doing it with people, where I'm with somebody, I'm like, hey, they're like, hey, how are you? I'm like, good. And then you stand there for a little bit, and so what I can't handle is the awkward silence. So like if I see someone like at like a restaurant that I recognize but I don't know, I'm like, hey, how are you? And then I can't handle just standing there and not talking because I'm like, well, we kind of know each other, so I feel like we should be talking, but I don't really know anything about them. So I'm like, man, the weather's been really crazy lately, huh? And I find myself doing it all the time.
I did the same
If
thing.
you
man.
ever
the time.
ever say anything about the weather and it's just us, I'm punching you in the face.
Right?
Okay, so I'll stand next to you. I'll be like,
don't you dare do that to me.
so I'll find really awkward things for you, and I'll be like, so
I'm okay with that.
how's your sex life?
Oh, man.
And I'll be like, well,
don't
this
wanna talk
week
about
or
it.
this month, like, what do you want to know? I'll just be awkward right back.
And then I'll be like,
it's all right.
Like last
yeah,
night.
the weather's been-
You want the
Yeah.
details?
Like the
And
TV
then-
was on.
and then I'll respond with, man, the weather's crazy, huh?
yeah.
Just to get away from that conversation.
Oh, man. People are chiming in left and right, especially when it comes to cliques, because some are like, yeah, well, I mean, it's friendship. And some are like, no, this is sinful. It's within churches everywhere.
Yes. This is one of the greatest things I've ever heard. For those of you who are cliquey or have a great tight-knit group of friends, the best thing I ever heard as Christians, what you can do, if you know you're in a tight group of friends, don't stand in a circle, stand in a horseshoe.
Oh, yeah.
And that allows others to come up and engage with you and be a part of it as well. And so just make it a habit. If you know, hey, we have really close friends and you want a purpose in your heart to be open to other friendships and, hey, we don't want to look like we're just a clique, you can purpose that in your heart by standing in a horseshoe.
Yeah.
And that way others can walk up and engage and get to know you that way. And it won't give off the wrong persona. I don't think every person or every group of friends who's standing in a circle is literally giving their back to the world.
Yeah.
And I think it's perceived that way a lot of times. I don't think that's their intention all the time.
Well,
Sometimes it is, but sometimes
I'll
it's
just
not.
say a note, too. In order to have friends, you have to be friendly.
Yeah.
And I find a lot of people that will come to church and complain about the clickiness of church. But anytime there's an announcement about joining a small group and meeting people and building friendships, they no, I don't want to do that. And they don't want to. They don't want to put themselves out there. They
Mhm.
just want people to like come up to them when they get to church and be like, "Hey, do you want to be part of our friendship circle? Come on over here. Let's talk about real life stuff."
Yeah.
That's not how life works.
Right.
That's a false, weird idea of how relationships and community work. So if you want friends, you have to be friendly. If you want relationships, you have to put yourself out there and try to build relationships.
Yeah.
So if you're at a church and you've been hearing the pastor talk about small groups for the past year and you've never tried to
Joined
join
one,
one,
yeah.
well, it's on you. It's not on the pastor. It's not on the people at the church. It's on you. In order to have friends, you have to be friendly. In order to build relationships, you have to put yourself out there.
Yep. Nate chimed in on YouTube and said, I volunteer in ministry at 100+ members. I had a coworker who attended my church, and when I went to work the next day, he said that I looked right at him. I felt so bad, but I was very busy. I didn't even register that it was him. There's a high need for volunteers, so the people who are helping, like myself, sometimes can get tunnel vision. So, which is crazy. Like it should give us pause and go, dang, dude, what are we doing? Like we do, like coming up this Sunday, we do these incredible things once, like 6 weeks ish. It seems like every other month. It feels like we're doing these for our volunteers here at Calvary. And the first one, I had to purpose to be quote outgoing because in a public atmosphere, people go, oh, it's Steve-O. This guy's fun. He's gonna be great. Let's put him up here with cornhole where like right when people walk in. And I had to purpose to like get engaged in that because it can be difficult with strangers. And yet I'm the
same way.
I was so stoked on it because I just got locked in on the game and it was like, you know what? I'm focusing on the people God has placed directly in front of me. This person is playing this person. They've never played cornhole. All right, man, let me tell you how it goes. And this is what we're gonna do and have fun. But when it started, I immediately gravitated to Nate and was like, hey, you want to play cornhole with me? Like, seriously.
Yeah.
And had to, like, get outside of that and go, okay, this dude from Challenged Men, like, I don't know him, but I know he's, like, a part of this thing. And so I gotta focus on this guy right now,
Yeah.
John.
Yeah.
And he was really cool. But it took a minute. So I think it goes both ways. Yeah, we're cliquey, but I think also we need to look at every single person and realize maybe that's just not, it's hard for us to be outgoing and,
Yeah.
you know, so little grace goes a long way.
Yeah.
On
Yeah.
both sides, I think.
Yeah,
on
both
both
sides.
sides. So,
And
anyway.
again, I would just say to people too, don't expect to always have someone initiate things with you. Why don't you
Yeah.
be the initiator?
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, I will say it sounds like this girl's tried that she comes up to somebody and says hi.
Right.
Yeah.
But you have to understand, I can attest to this being a pastor. I have on a Sunday morning thousands of people say hi to me, and I don't have a conversation with every one of them.
Right.
You can't expect to come up and say, "Hey, how are you?" If the pastor responds back and says, "Good, how are you?" He just did the same thing that you did. You can't expect you to go up and say, "Hey, how are you?" and him to say, "I'm doing good. Hey, let's talk about your life."
Yeah.
That's not going to, I mean, they're in work mode and they're there for a lot of people.
Yeah.
If you want to have a conversation, initiate that and say, "Hey, I had a question." Cool. What's the question? And then start a conversation. I mean, it works. It works both ways. The pastor, the staff are there to serve a large number of people. If you want a deeper connection or relationship, in a large
Community
church,
group.
you have to schedule it.
Yeah. Yeah.
You really do. And
find a group, like
Yeah.
a different group. If you're not in with that group, there's so many different, like whether it's a community group or a life group or whatever the groups are called. Everybody wants that smaller community, and that's where a lot of that happens. Especially in
Okay,
a
I
big
have the
church like
answer.
ours. Okay, good.
Girlfriend, just come to She Lives.
Oh,
okay.
man.
Okay.
Come to She Ministries and say hi to me.
Whatever. You're gonna be standing there like awkward, not.
I
wanting
do.
to-
Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
I teach the Bible.
You're like, come here, and
I
then she's
still
gonna show up and
stand
go,
up
"Hi,
front
Sinead,"
and
and you're gonna go,
awkward.
"Hey."
She's gonna.
Right.
It's okay. I will be awkward, but I'll be awkward with her.
Yeah, maybe if she starts the conversation with, "I'm that girl that's awkward and needs help," and you're
And I'll
go,
be like,
"Oh,
"Me too, high
girlfriend, me too,
five!"
hey," and then you'll both stand there awkward. Okay, all right, cool. Good to meet you. Gosh.
Funny.
Live lines open 505-585-LIVE if you'd like to text into the show.
So it's interesting. So, Steve-O,
Yeah.
the five voices, you're a connector though, aren't you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
How
'Cause-
do you be an introvert connector?
Well, most true connectors that I've seen, like Jesse Lusko's a connector.
Okay.
Like most true connectors I've seen love schmoozing and small talk and just sitting around and talking to a bunch of people.
Ugh.
Like that's
See,
most
I
connectors
can-
that I know.
I can-
they love that.
I can do that.
Yeah.
But I operate best in deeper conversations.
Yeah.
One-on-one, I'd love to get to know you.
Yeah.
But I had a purpose to that because for me, it became sinful. Like just getting raw and real, it was very sinful because I was very arrogant. I didn't care about anybody else. So small talk was great because I didn't have to really care or know anybody else's life. And so I had
So
to
naturally
purpose,
small. So naturally,
Yeah.
you're more
but
comfortable.
it was out of
So
a
maturity
place of
you've
selfish
become.
ambition and
Okay.
or just
Well, no,
pride or whatever
it becomes
it
out
is.
of. You talk about like the five voice or Enneagram.
Yeah.
There's the core
Negative
of who
and the
you are.
positive.
There's
Yeah.
the core of who you are. A non-mature version.
So I could do that, but I found myself doing that so easily because I didn't really care. And then 5 minutes later, I'm like, I don't even remember that person's name because I
And
don't
so
care about you.
You're naturally good at it, and
Oh,
you're
yeah.
naturally comfortable doing
Mhm.
it. But maturity has taught you to be better at building deeper relationships,
I
and now
prefer
in
it.
turn,
Yeah.
that has now made you not like doing what
Yeah,
you're
because
naturally
it feels
good at doing.
fake,
Yeah.
and I don't like fake. Give me real. So
Amen.
yeah, so that's why. That's why. Because I'd say I can. You know, I definitely can.
Yeah.
I'm great at it, but it makes me uncomfortable a lot of the time because I just have to check myself, my motivation, why
Yeah.
I'm doing it. Yeah.
Cody's another really good
Mhm.
connector
I
like
think
that.
we have a phone call.
We have a phone call.
Hey, go ahead, caller.
Hey guys,
Hey.
I love this conversation. I was on staff at a church. It was my first position out of Bible college, and I would stand at the student ministries table on Sunday mornings. The church was maybe about 1,500. I'm convinced the pastor just wanted to be a megachurch pastor. He was rushing through a book that he was trying to get published and all this stuff. And we would stand at that table, my wife and I, and people would literally walk up to us, stare us in the face, and then walk away instead of talking to us.
Oh, no.
And we were like, was that intentional? And it happened week after week after week. So I went to the head youth pastor, and I was like, hey, this is happening. He's like, okay, well, give it time and pray about it. I'm like, okay. So we gave it time and prayed about it. Still happening. And then we go to the associate pastor, and we're like, hey, this is happening. It's like, okay, let's grab lunch. So we grab lunch, and they're like, give it time and pray about it. We're like, okay, we did that. I guess we can do it.
Oh, no.
Oh, no, we lost you.
No.
And
there you are.
Oh, there you are.
There we are. We lost you for a second.
Got me? I'm driving up to Glorietta, so
Oh,
it's a
man.
little iffy up here.
Okay.
So we go to the head pastor, and the same thing. We tell them all we've gotten for encouragement is pray about it and give it time. But we think that there is, something going on in the church that isn't healthy for newcomers. And I'm on staff.
Yeah.
Dang it! If
we
don't
lost
get-
him again.
If we don't get the end of this story, I'm going to be so mad at you.
Come back to us.
Oh, I'm going to be so mad at you, Glorietta.
Pull over.
Dude, we lost him.
We lost
All right.
No.
Call us back, man.
But again, so I feel for the story he's telling us. But at the same time, I would just say this: if you come to church for like 4 weeks in a row and you just stand there and you give someone eye contact and they don't talk to you, but you don't talk to them, it's on both of you.
Yeah. Well, and
it's not
also-
just on them.
Yeah.
So if you see someone and give them eye contact, why don't you purpose in your heart to be the initiator and come and say, hey, how are you? I'm so-and-so. What's your name? And you start that conversation. So
And what's great is, well, for one, a table I feel is such a barrier.
Totally.
And we learned this just when we did New Mexico Praise. We went and we had a table for freedom celebration, and me, super awkward. I wanted to hide behind that table and not do anything.
Yeah.
And as I stand there, I'm trying to hand out these brochures or these little cards that invites them to an event that's free, that's open to the whole community, and they just kind of look at you and you go, hi, and they look at you like, don't talk to me. As soon as I stepped outside my comfort zone and took initiative, I went around the table.
Yeah.
I had the pages in my hand and I said, hey, how are you doing today? As soon as you do that, they stop, they talk, they ask for prayer, they want to
Walls get
engage.
broken down.
So much, because you're choosing to take away that barrier.
This is one thing that I would say. A new person at any place, an organization, a church, a coffee shop, whatever. A new person, we always say, oh man, well, I'm a new person, so everyone's new to me. Well, guess what? You're also new to everyone else. So we have this idea that I don't know anybody, I'm new. Well, that works both ways. Nobody knows you. So if both parties have this idea that, well, they're new, and you have this idea, well, they're new, somebody has to break down that wall and that barrier. So I do think that's important at church. We have what we call our VIP team and our welcome team, and their purpose is to go out of their way to make
make
new
other
people
people
feel
feel
loved
comfortable.
and cared
Yeah.
for and not awkward. I think that awkwardness is a barrier to receptiveness, and so our goal is to break down that awkwardness so people feel comfortable their first time at church. But if churches don't have that, I think it's important you can make yourself known. And I think it's important to do that.
And I think asking, not that you can't ask for advice from, the pastors or the head pastor, but be the change, be the difference. Like you don't necessarily have to do it the way they do it. If they want to come and correct you, and you can go, hey, I've seen barriers broken down by stepping out and going in front of the table and just introducing myself or whatever it is, by you taking initiative and making the change, that's so much better.
We have 2 phone calls on the line.
Oh.
Is this Glorietta? Are you back?
Glorietta!
I had lost you guys.
Oh, man. Pull over. Don't drive any
but
further.
I'm here. I just wanted to say that we did that, and it didn't make much difference. We had broken down those barriers, and so the reason we went to pastoral staff was, hey, I think there's something here to just pay attention to. And they simply turned to my wife and said, well, if you weren't so shy, I would talk to you. And it broke everything. It was the straw on the camel's back that was just like, okay, I think we might be called somewhere else.
Yeah.
And that's what ended up happening, unfortunately, in a lot of broken relationships. But God good. He knows what's going on in that church. He knows, the way that he wanted us to go, and has placed us in a lot of really cool ministries and a lot of really cool things. But I think there is something to notice with people who feel it, to say, like, yeah, reach out, break out of your comfort zone, but know that it won't always be well received, and you can go to the Lord and say, is this where you want me?
Yeah,
That's good. Yeah.
It's good.
So,
Dude, thank you so
just
much.
to be sensitive to the feelings of those folks who are feeling it.
Totally.
Thanks,
Yeah.
Gloria.
Yep.
Safe travels, buddy.
See you guys.
See ya.
We got another question.
We had another phone call, but they
We
hung
did.
up. Caller, call back.
I thought you
See,
said like
this is
call her
nice,
back.
bro. That's why
Like
we need
you
a
knew her
producer,
number.
guys. We could have a producer in there answering all the
Answering
phones
the
and putting them on
phone.
hold
That'd
and
be
getting
nice.
the topic. And
I'm working hard over here, guys.
yeah. Yeah. Hey guys, my question today concerns childhood trauma. Oh, you came to the right place. I am an adult child to a lifelong alcoholic parent. My parent has struggled with addiction their entire life. I'm now 33 and have 4 kids of my own. I've been walking with the Lord for 18 years, but I've never talked through any of the issues of growing up in a house with an alcoholic parent. I've always thought I was fine. However, I'm starting to see things in my marriage and parenting that don't seem right. Perhaps they're just symptoms of deeper issues in my childhood that have never been dealt with. I've walked through some of the things that no child should ever have to see or be held responsible for. I know I have God's word to guide me, but what other avenues should I take to get help so that what I experienced as a child does not affect my marriage and my own children? Side note, I'm not struggling with any form of addiction. I have chosen not to drink due to what alcohol has done to my family.
I would say see a psychiatrist because you do need to walk through those childhood traumas that you did experience, and maybe you don't even know entirely what you experienced
Amen.
because you've closed it off so long.
I would say it doesn't have to be a psychiatrist. I just think you need someone to talk to and work through that stuff with.
Well-
and it needs to be a non-biased third party. So a psychiatrist or a pastor, a church that offers biblical counseling.
Yeah.
There's a number of things that you can go to on that.
Yep.
Man, a good place to even start, just to get used to talking about your story, is a close friend. They can be your accountability partner. That you can begin to talk to some of that stuff with a close friend. That way, it's easier for you when you go meet with a pastor or psychiatrist. But you need to talk through that stuff.
I'm gonna give you a website. It's called formationcounseling.org. The reason I give it to you is because recently a good friend of mine asked me if I'd ever heard of lifespan integration. Have you guys ever heard of this?
No.
Lifespan integration. It's these are clinical, these are psychologists that use this technique called lifespan integration. It's a therapy which was developed during the first decade of the 21st century, and it relies on the ability of the body and mind to heal from specifically childhood traumas.
Wow.
I was pretty skeptical because I'm always like, well, science. Not that I don't agree with science, because I think that that's how God, that's kind of like the book as far as like God's creation and many a different things. So, but I've always been down on psychology in certain regards because I've just been weird about it because my personal growing up, which is something that I had to get through and get over because a good friend of mine said, no, look at this. It's a local counselor in Albuquerque that uses this that also happens to be a Christian.
Awesome.
So it's a Christian psychologist. So it's kind of both. You're getting both. It's from a Christian biblical perspective, and yet it's using this life integration stuff to kind of get you back to the root of the hurts from when you were a child that are now affecting you as an adult and causing you to lash out or to react to certain things in certain ways. And so, again, it's just called formationcounseling.org if you'd like more information on just one of the many places that could help. But I do think it's become it's like this odd taboo thing when you talk about psychology or having like a therapist, where it's like no, you can't go to therapy. But it's like, dude, our whole faith is founded on the fact that we are broken and foolish and can't do this on our own. And Christ came and redeemed us, but we're still these broken people. And if there's some broken stuff in there, we probably need to figure out what that is so that we don't repeat certain things. And so I do think it's important because I get that childhood trauma can affect so many areas of your life without you even recognizing that's why you're responding to things in a certain way,
Absolutely.
or lashing out in other ways or whatever it may be. So it's good that you recognize that.
Yeah. I know I would say this is kind of going to sound like cliche, but the movie I Can Only Imagine about the lead singer for Mercy Me, we just watched that.
Dude.
And it was really good. And I just think
Thank
if
you.
this guy could...
Thank you,
if
Dex!
This guy could just watch it, just to know he's not alone and that God can turn something
this is-
like that. Sorry, but it's just a good
No,
example. But
I
God can
agree.
turn something
I mean,
that is
we're in the
brokenness.
No. I'll admit, I liked it, but I did not want to like it. I
I
still
know.
don't want to like it.
I know that, but I'm saying
bawled.
he's not alone.
No.
You're not alone. That's
Nope.
what I want you to get the message. You're not alone, and
Right.
that God can turn something that was so tragic and heartache and those childhood traumas, and he can make something so beautiful from it.
Yeah.
And your life can mean so much more. And not only that, if your
Bro, they need to
parent
make-
is still alive, you can have restoration.
They need to make a movie about Jeremy Camp.
Yeah.
Oh
that
my
would
gosh,
be a sad
yes.
movie.
Yeah.
That's a good. Yep,
What
that
other
would be
sad
good.
movie? I'm
What
just-
other
yeah.
what other
Yeah.
Christian artists have sad
Have
stories that
sad-
they can make
well,
movies out of?
But I'm just
artist,
saying,
all of them. If you're
Right.
an artist, there's always going to be
yeah.
some, yeah.
Except
but,
for Justin Bieber.
Yeah. I mean,
Well-
there's been trauma there.
Oh golly.
Hey, just this is just really interesting. I was just looking at Instagram. So, did you guys know the actual reason that Jon Jones got his sentence reduced? It wasn't because they found out that he wasn't it was because he snitched.
He snitched
Yeah.
on who?
Seriously? I didn't read that.
The USADA has
Fake news.
in the anti-doping policy
news.
has literally a snitch clause that if you after more than a year with no official decision on punishment, Jones' case went to arbitration this month. He got 30 months knocked off his potential suspension for his substantial assistance under Section 10.6 of the USADA anti-doping policy, and ended up with a 15-month suspension, just 3 months more than he received for his last anti-doping violation. So
he snitched on another guy?
So basically, he shared
What's your
information.
source?
He's going to lose to DC now because snitches get stitches.
That's on MMA Junkie.
Yeah, I don't know.
But there's multiple. There's
Why
multiple.
do we have to go back to that? Now you just
There's multiple.
totally ruined it.
We'll find out about it.
there's multiple things. It's also on SB Nation how the snitching clause gave UFC star Jon Jones a much lighter USADA. It's on multiple.
Oh my gosh, we don't
It's on
care
Low
about
Kick MMA.
Jones.
It's on Low Kick MMA. It's on SB Nation. It's on MMA Junkie.
Shock therapy is about your life, not the lives of celebrities.
Hey, they're still human beings, Janae.
Well,
They're
he
still
needs
human
to
beings.
seek counseling. Just kidding.
Bro.
I think it's vitally important.
I'm texting some people.
Yeah.
What's your source, bro?
Is this real?
I'm texting
Is
Jon
this fake
Jones right
news?
now.
Yeah.
Are you really?
I could, but I mean,
Don't do it.
Don't do that.
Don't do that.
Don't-
Hey, bro, is
Are you a
it true?
snitch, bro? You're a snitch. Tell me it's not true, bro.
Gosh, you
This is
guys
the
are
thing.
so-
When you're Jon Jones and you're that big, you're kind of like snitches get stitches, but who can really give me stitches?
Yeah.
Like
You know
who
who
can
else said
really
that?
hurt me?
Goliath. Oh.
Oh.
Goliath snitch? Who did Goliath snitch on?
No, just that mentality. When you're that big. I was being comical.
I thought it was funny.
It
Nope,
wasn't
it was
funny
good.
because it didn't make sense.
I totally understood
Why
it.
don't you start using the Bible in context?
Oh, wow.
Gosh. Okay.
Why don't you get out?
It takes one to know one.
What does that even mean?
I don't know.
You're just saying stuff.
That's how I respond to you, too. When you
Dude, the weather's been weird lately.
Well, you're a poopy face.
The weather's been super
The
weird
weather's
lately.
just, that crazy weather, huh?
No, but seriously, it has been crazy. It was
Yeah.
like 96 degrees like earlier this week, and now
98,
it's
you mean?
super cold and rainy.
Yeah. Perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect. What are you teaching on next week?
Stuff.
I don't know until I get up there.
I just won the Awkward Conversation Award.
The weather.
All right. Perfect.
Teach on the weather.
Whether or not
Up.
you should
Getting a
turn your
text
life
back.
around.
Hold
Oh,
on.
gosh. Here we go. Phone lines are open if you want to call in 505-338-3700.
Is it? It's fake news.
I
Or
think it's fake news.
you can
You
text
just
in on the
shared
live line.
fake news on
I
the
didn't
air.
share. No, there's multiple sources.
505-855 live. That's
Yeah, who did he snitch on?
505.
I don't know that they don't say that because the USADA wants to.
548-3.
So it's basically like it's just like time served for like sometimes with actual convicts they'll get time removed after their sentence if they help the government catch more people.
Okay, on the count of 3, everybody talk at the same time.
Okay, 1, 2,
2, 3.
Let's talk
Hey,
about
so
how
how's it
MMA
going?
encourages
What's
violence
going on?
and we
Oh,
should discourage
it was just us.
as Christians.
I'm not getting in your shenanigans.
Well, that's not me.
That's
that was
what happened.
something
He
that
was
came in on
giving the
Facebook
number, and
or
we're all
YouTube.
talking on top of him.
Yeah. Okay.
I was just trying to share some
I
love,
wouldn't agree with
Steve-O.
that actually, because I think if anything, it can encourage discipline. I have some very good
If you
friends
share
that are
the
fighters,
name?
and no.
No, he's gonna get.
Let's talk about how MMA encourages violence, is what somebody said, and I said I don't agree with that. You know.
Let's talk about how football encourages violence. Guess what? More football players are beating their wives outside of football than UFC fighters.
Oh my gosh, it's so funny though. They always, every game we watch, and we watch regularly. I
gosh.
love football, but every time it's like, oh, number 28, so and so is fighting a suspension for abuse.
No, literally this past week they said, man, he's playing so good. And with the fact that he has jail time looming over his head, he's still in the game, trying to win it for his team. He's still motivated. Imagine that, playing that, knowing that you're going to go to jail, but still out there playing your heart out. And it's like, oh, we're just watching a bunch of criminals hit each other on the field.
I love it though.
Pretty
criminals?
much a football team is comprised of somebody who throws the ball, somebody who kicks the ball, and 25 attempted murderers. Like, that's pretty much a football team.
Multiple people are chiming in going, how did we get here? And I
don't
just want to
know.
encourage everyone to go back and listen to the podcast and realize, Nate is how we got here.
Yeah, we were doing so
We're
good, and
talking
then you
about
and
like
Jones.
childhood trauma.
Can
and
we
all these
talk about
things.
how badly I beat you this week in fantasy football?
Oh, gosh. You know what, bro? It doesn't count because you auto-drafted and I hate you. No,
You
I
did
don't
not.
hate you.
I did auto-draft.
He beat the tar out of me and he did auto-draft.
Oh, you're on the church
There
league?
were multiple times where I was
What about
going to
our
get somebody
private
and
league?
his little auto-draft guy, I knew I wasn't going to get him. And I was going, ooh, I hate
Well,
him.
maybe you should auto-draft next year.
Maybe
no, I'm
I
not
will.
gonna auto-draft. You know why? I'm still going to win because I crushed the first week. And this week, my kicker got injured in the first quarter and got knocked
mine
out.
too. Is
My
that-
tight end, whoop, both
Who's
of
your
them
kicker?
out. LA Rams.
I think it's hilarious
No,
that right
that's
now
mine.
I'm winning in our league.
I hate
because
you.
like
Oh.
when I was in Florida when I auto drafted, it was late at night, and literally I was like, crap, I auto drafted. I'm going to do terrible this season because usually when you auto draft, you end up doing really bad.
You auto drafted like the best people, and I hate it. Oh,
except
I hate it
except
so
that
hard.
my bench was all wide receivers.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I had to come back and drop some people and add some people and do some stuff here, but I beat Vader Nation.
Yeah, I've already lost 2 players for the season. It's week 2, and I've already had to try and pick people up.
It's tough.
Yeah.
You raise Steve up. Sorry, go ahead, Dex.
What you got for
Football.
What do I got for you?
us? Yeah. Oh.
This is fake news.
Perfect.
You are fake news. You are fake news, Nate Heitzik.
No, not true. Lies.
Fake news.
Lies.
I can't find anything, and my source says no, not true.
What do you mean
my
find
source.
anything? I just searched Jon
He is an
Jones on news,
inside
just
source.
not even a specific thing. I just searched Jon Jones in the news, and there's 5 different articles from different things all about it.
Fake news, man.
You know what? Me too, bro. Me too.
What?
You're doing.
I'm with her.
You are. Yeah. It's not cool to shame victims, bro. It's not cool to
Wow.
shame victims.
Wow. Maybe you should, talk with reliable sources before you actually go on the air with them. We're journalists.
Well,
and we
maybe
only
you
do
realize
true-
that when a victim has been victimized and you blame the victim for lying, it further hurts the victim. Yeah.
To be fair, I've already found 3 sources that have cited that. So
okay, well, they're wrong.
They're all weird.
They're all writing articles off of
none
one
of them
fake
are
newser.
ESPN. Yeah. So
Yeah, and there's nothing in the articles that talks about.
You know
No, I
what?
said none of them are.
Oh,
like
I
none
was
of them
like,
are reputable
dang.
sources.
You're just like
They're
Kavanaugh and all his cronies.
Oh snap! Look at that grown-up reference.
I didn't get it.
Wow, that's right because we don't care about politics.
Guys, we're out of here. We're done.
Yeah. Thank you, Jesus.
Thank you, Heitzik.
Thank you,
It was fun.
Jesus. Dustin says it's not fake news. Our boy Dustin Woodward.
Ooh, Dex.
Dustin?
He knows people.
He chimes in on the usual.
Well,
He does.
find out.
He is
He
a prominent
does.
Christian leader that enjoys our morning show, Nathan.
What? I enjoy your morning show.
Yeah, I know, bro. Proving my point.
Gosh, stop
Sorry,
yelling.
sorry, dog. Sorry,
Jeez.
sorry.
All right.
Just find a way to have it make money, Steve-O.
Oh, wow. I think we've told you how to.
My job is to do a dope morning show, which we've succeeded at. How about you hire the right people?
Thank you. All right. Guys, have a great day. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye.
That's all we got. There ain't no more. Time is tight.
It's the end of the show.
Slater Transfer and Storage is a Star 88 power partner. Slater Transfer and Storage has been family-owned for more than 30 years. They're an Atlas Interstate agent and are certified by the American Moving and Storage Association, moving locally, long-distance, corporate, and providing